Testing. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. Hello? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Mic check. Okay. Yeah? No? Okay. I think that was probably Jackson. Jackson comes out here and lets the dogs out now sometimes, and every time I come out here, I catch him sitting in the bar stool, like spamming keys on the keyboard. I have a feeling he probably hit the mute mic button. Okay, let's try that again. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the coldest stream around. It is definitely winter is coming. That's for sure. It's 64, so it's not too bad. And then once we get going here and I start moving and the printer's going, we'll be fine. I hope everybody is doing well. I'll take a moment here to say hi to everybody now that I can be... Who let the dogs out? Every time I take the dogs out or ask Jackson to take the dogs out, that plays in my head. So let's see. John's in the house. Zombies here. Ranch Kid. Tuxedo. Muzin is here. Beads, how you doing? I think I just said Ranch. Lewis is here. Graybeard, how's it going? I saw that everyone has updated names now. Not everyone, but most people. Hey, Lisa. Going is here. Penguin Makers is here. Keep is here. A lot of people are here. I hope everyone is doing awesome. It's 53 here. Well, outside it's colder. Luckily, the garage is insulated, so it's a little bit warmer. But like if I look at the outside weather, it says it is 48. So yeah, it's definitely the garage is doing what it's supposed to be doing and keeping me not 48. I would have a sweater on. I think that if it was a few degrees cooler, Aaron even asked me, "Are you putting a sweater on?" I said, "No, I'll be okay." So I need everybody to just put out all of the good, positive printer energy today in hopes that we can get this thing printing. Since last week's stream, I have spent many an hour out here messing around with things, and I took a few steps forward, and then I took a lot of steps backward, and a few steps forward, and we're pretty much where we were on last week's stream with maybe like another step forward. So, long story short, for anyone that wasn't here last week, we tested most things on the printer and they were working. We ran into some issues with the motors triggering an error, which ended up being that the cables weren't fully seated. After now playing around with those cables quite a few times, I do realize you actually need to put a lot of force, and there's a very audible and physical click that happens when whatever those beefy connectors are pushed into place. So we got that working, and then the issue we ran into was with the Cartographer probe. So the scanning worked pretty much right away, but when we went to do the touch functionality, it basically was erroring out. We played around with that for a while. So since then, and after that discussion, one of my main goals was to get this thing as updated as possible. So I tried that, and it was, let's see, is everyone talking smack about me being cold, little poor me? I need to insulate my garage, want to start some resin stuff, but being lazy. Yeah, I mean, the garage door insulation, I think, is by far the easiest. They have these like foam panels that came with it, but I was watching a video of a guy just a couple days ago, because I was watching mini split install stuff, and I guess if you don't have an easy way to do foam, there's these kind of like thicker insulation bags that you almost use like double-sided adhesive on these. They're kind of like a flat base with a spike, and you put them on each square of your garage door on the inside, and you just push this thing into place, and you push it through the spike, and that basically grips it into place. So that's an easy one. As far as the drywall, that's probably going to be a lot trickier. I think that if you don't do it when the house is built, what most people probably do is spray insulation, because I think that's a lot easier to just make a hole and, spray in the cavity there. But it's 48 here, but sunny in the fall season are beautiful. Yeah, I was outside last Wednesday doing some yard work, and it was like 50, but it was sunny and there was no breeze at all, and it felt really nice. It's still like, once we get the wind chill factor, oh, it goes straight through to your bones. So anyways, things I've done. So updating, that was a big issue. So the Venture XL uses this and the screws aren't even in here. You can see this right now. I took the screws out and I never even got a chance to put them back in. So if I go like this and you see me pressed with the screen. Oops, the screen wants to fall out. So I do need to put the screws back in on this guy. So it's got like a clipper host built into here, and flashing that was not difficult, but it didn't work right away. I had to play around with things a bit. That's why I had to take it apart. I had to access like the boot and the reset button on the back, and I was able to get this updated with another clipper image that FYSETC had released a little while after I got mine. And so if we look at the back end now of, we can see that most everything is up to date. So the only things that are not is the Nevermore, which I think I just didn't mess with. I don't even have that hooked up. System, I was not able to get up to date. I kept getting errors when I tried updating it. So it kind of is what it is. I think I got it slightly updated, but I wasn't able to get it all the way. So it says we're in Bullseye. I can't remember, was Bullseye old or new? I really don't remember. GPs was talking about this last week. Hey, Lewis. Or is it Lewis? Lewis or Luis? I don't know. This is a very much so first batch. So I got everything updated, and then I ran into some issues with Cartographer. And it's my luck that the night I tried getting this set up, they had just like redone things where they split the repos, and so the beta repo became now like a primary repo, and it just things did not go well. I basically was trying to get it working. I kept getting an error, and I will say that the Cartographer Discord was awesome. I ended up creating a ticket after hours of like not being able to figure out what the heck was going on, and the creator of the project like basically responded to the ticket saying, hey, I changed some things up, so I'm cleaning up documentation and kind of moving things around. And so they did that, and then I was able to get the error gone. But then the next issue I ran into was I wanted to update the Cartographer's firmware because it was on potentially an older firmware. And that I was having issues with as well. It just, something to do with the plugins, it was not, the folder was not there. And I couldn't figure out, I would try reinstalling the plugins, and every single time when I went under the command line and I did list, the plugins folder was just missing. So one of the community members, I don't think they're associated with Cartographer specifically, but they definitely have access to like the tickets system and all that. I want to give them credit because they were awesome. This was I cannot see because I have the stream going. The name starts with a J. I'll have to give them a shout out later. And they basically got me the modified version of Catapult that I needed the command to flash it. And so I was able to flash it to 5.0, which wasn't the latest. 5.1 is the latest, but they recommend I start with 5.0. And I had issues. It was the same thing where when the nozzle was going down and touching off, it just wasn't getting consistent results. And somebody here last week said that maybe it was because of the location I was offsetting. If we look at, so also the mesh got worse on this, and I don't know whether I did something or what, but this is currently our mesh, and I think that I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to leave it for now until the beds are heated up and all that. But our mesh went from like 0.6. Okay, it says 1.1. That's actually not accurate, so I'll have to run a scan, but it's at like 0.8 now. And if you look at this, like, because it's 4 separate beds, the part that's always been the worst out of the testing I've done both on stream last week and just I've ran it probably 6 or 7 times since is, oh, interesting, it issues with 5.1. So I'm on 5.1 now, and that's what's been working for me. But this point here, I think it was Kali. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, it was you. It's the peak. And so I ended up upgrading the firmware to 5.1, changing the location that it does that initial touch to, like, I think I changed it from 300 to 350 by 350, so it's somewhere over here. And then I raised the threshold a little bit, and I was able to get it working. So as of right now, that should be working. And the other thing is I tried getting Orca Slicer working with the stuff in their repo, and that was not working. So I basically did, GPs mentioned it last week, I basically took a Voron 2.4 profile, scaled it up to 600 by 600 by 600, even though I don't know if it's actually 600 in height. I'll have to figure out what the true maximum is, but that's what we've got. And thought I was going to be printing last night, but now I have 3 additional errors, 3 things that are happening right now. So the first is I'm getting some kind of micro SD card error the second it tries to print, so we'll have to address that. The second is I don't want to heat up all the beds at the exact same time. So Esoterical released a macro that is supposed to sort of stagger heating. The macro is here, adaptive bed heater. And so the issue I ran into this was that the parameter I was passing wasn't named correctly. They had it named bed underscore temp, I think. And so I believe I've changed everything now to be named bed. So hopefully that's gonna work. And then the other issue I ran into is when I tried loading filament in yesterday and I went under main sales UI and clicked extrude, it just spun. Like it was just, it basically locked itself up. I have no idea why. So I think our game plan is right now that we are going to quickly home it, quickly run a mesh, save that mesh, try to print and see what errors we get, and then work our way through that. But I think we're getting close. But my main goal last night was to print a small cube before going to bed, and I ended up calling it probably around midnight, and I said, it's not happening. So let's quickly go ahead here and get this going. So we'll start by homing. I also had some weird thing happen with one of the motors on the Z do something funky, but I seem like I've got that addressed. So let's see what happens here. So let's start by just going and homing X, Y, and Z. I'm definitely gonna need probably some help or some feedback on what we think we should do shortly here. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a height map. There's not really a point in doing this because I am running adaptive meshing, but I just want to at least update it. The 1.161 value was before I changed the screws around a little bit, so I at least want to see where we're at. Oh, that was a close call. almost hit the tablet. Yeah, I think we're going to be at 0.8 something. I'd like to get it down further, but the reality is I want to get everything else figured out first before I worry about dialing that in. And also, this is a cold mesh, so it's not really fully indicative of what the bed's going to look like, even when it's warmed up to 60 Celsius. So before I go and like truly dial it in, I need to get it up to temp and do some stuff. But for the sake of just picking a small area and trying to print a cube, I just want to see this thing print, and then I can worry about all the other, all the other tuning and stuff. I still need to do PID. I still need to try input shaping. Haven't done that. But my first goal is just see if I can get it printing without errors, and then we can start, doing some of that other stuff. I'm gonna move this right here. Hey, Viking! Yeah, the update from FYSETC definitely changed a few things. Like, I know that on the scan, well, the first time we ran the scan last week, it scanned both directions. So it went like all the way to the back and then ran a scan back this way. Now with the update, it's only running a single scan, which I think is probably sufficient, hopefully. Hey, Bucket! Hope everybody's having a great week. It's almost spooky time. It's almost Halloween. It also does take a while to calculate this when it's done. I think that I don't know what I have to look at what the actual chipset is on the screen here, but something tells me, I don't know if it's underpowered, but maybe. So yeah, it takes like, I don't know, 60 seconds or so to calculate the mesh. If you're heating up one of the 4 beds, why are you doing a complete mesh? So I am not heating up one. Okay, so yeah, we're at 0.853. So we did drop down. You can't really see it, I suppose, but We're at 0.853, so we dropped down from 1.1 to 0.853, which is what I suspected. We're not heating up one bed. I don't know that there's a way to do that effectively. Well, there probably is a way to do that effectively, but we're stagger heating, so we're still heating up the entire thing. It's just not heating all of them with the same amount of juice at the same time. I think it basically heats up one of them by like 10C, then the next one by 10C, the next one by 10C, and kind of round robins until it hits temp, I believe. So, but yeah, it looks like the main issue is there's a big drop off in this corner, so this needs to get raised. This front needs to get raised, but I feel like it's moving around a little bit, so I don't fully trust it yet. Like I mentioned a moment ago, once I end up heating this whole thing up, then I'll run a mesh and then I'll start working with it from there. So, hey Iconic. So let's go ahead and save this. And then let's just try to slice up this calibration cube and see what error we get. I'm curious to see, because I changed the macro now, whether the beds actually heat up. Because when I tried running a print last night, it said beds were at temp, but they had not heated up at all. So I'm very curious to see whether we have fixed that now. If I go under Venture XL, and I go under here, it looks like it is setting the variable bed equal to the bed temperature. So I believe if I go under here and I go under printer.cfg and I scroll down to our print start macro, which is going to be right here. Oh, this is not set. Yeah, this is set. Bed underscore temp. Set bed temp equal to parameter dot bed. I'm actually not sure if this is going to work correctly. Someone let me know if you, I'm not like, the only reason for heating all 4 beds would be if the size of your print requires it. I agree with that. You'd have to be, I don't think there's a way to specifically state like if bed is in this area, heat up to like heat this bed only. I don't know if there's that. So I think it would be like manually placing, I think I'd have to manually place something in an area. I'm not sure how the macros would go, but the thing I'm curious about right now is, so like right now it's saying set bed underscore temp equal to parameter dot bed. So I think that's correct, because I think that's basically, this is where it's passing in the parameter called bed from here. If someone can tell me whether that's correct, but I believe that is accurate. But I'm not sure if this is saying set bed temp equal to parameters dot bed, adaptive bed, bed temp equals bed. I'm not sure if this is right as far as the naming goes, because I'm not using bed underscore temp anymore. I've got a 20 amp. I do have a 20 amp, but I still would rather not do that. So yeah, I'm not sure this is right anymore, because this is saying bed underscore temp equals parameters.bed. I believe this is the parameter we're passing to this variable. And this is saying bed temp equal to bed. But then when I go back over here to the macro for adaptive bed, I wonder if I need to change this. You're mixing bed temp as an argument, bed temp as the ginger template variable. It's not, I don't have it set right, do I? So if someone that is more proficient with macros wants to help out, I am going to delete this one that I made changes to. Okay, and then I'm going to upload how it was before I modified it. So that's going to be under downloads. There should be something called adaptive bed. Okay, so this is how it was by default. This says set bed temp equals parameter.s bed temp. So because in Orca Slicer it is named, because in Orca Slicer it's named bed, I think I do need to make some changes though. Or I can probably set this to equal, if I set bed and change the name on that to bed temp, then I think that it would work. Does that seem right? This always throws me every single time. So I think if I go like this, bed temp, like that, that should pass the correct parameter to this. But I did change the starting macro, which means I'd have to change that too. So that would mean that if I go back down to the starting macro, I would need to change parameters. So now this would be probably bed temp, right? And then this would probably be bed temp as well, because we want those to match. And I think that's it. Bed underscore temp equals to that. Adaptive bed equal to bed temp. I think that that would be correct. Yes, cool. All right, let's see if this works. So let's slice this file up and see if our beds heat up, because that was the issue I ran into last night, was that the beds were not heating. Okay. Okay, so it does look like something's happening. So bed 1 is heating up to 20 Celsius. The other two are set to 15. Okay, so yeah, now this is heating up to 20 Celsius. Sick. All right. So this seems like it's working. Yeah, I had some naming issues last night because I think what I did was I changed the better print start macro. I grabbed those values from there and pasted those into the machine custom G code, and that wasn't right because the naming convention for the better print start macro uses bed, not bed underscore temp. But this seems like we're heating up. So we've got 2 at 20 Celsius. I think we're going up to 60 possibly. And I might end up turning off the beds for this, because if we're going to be airing out a few times, we're not going to want to wait for this to heat up every single time to, you know, just to get an error. But this is at least a good start because the beds were not working last night. So once that hits 20, does the next one bump up? Yeah, cool. So now the next one's bumped up to 25 Celsius. This is neat. Recently got my SVOA Eddie upgrade done. Also had to go in and edit a bunch of their start G code. Nice. Yeah, I've got that on my list of things that I want to cover. I still have the SVOA. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it long term, but I did see that they released the scanner. So I'm thinking about potentially doing a video on it, possibly. We'll see. I think I saw you post. You said it's been working well though, right? Now that you've got the like configuration all set up for it. Yeah, so we'll let this heat up like one time, and then after that, if it errors out, then we'll just move on. What were the other errors I said we were having? So the errors, oh yeah, so it does seem like the extruder motor is extruding the correct direction, which is good. I just don't understand, and I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to stall this thing out, but yesterday when I heated up the extruder to like 200 Celsius and I was just loading in some PLA, when I went down here and just hit extrude, it sent a command that was different than I'm used to seeing, and it just was, you know, spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and nothing happened. It wasn't extruding, so I don't know why that would be. I don't know if it's a CAN communication error that was going on. I don't know if it was something to do with the actual processor that the Clipper host is using. I really don't know. And then the final error I was getting was something with SD card. I searched it up last night, and that seemed to be CAN bus related, possibly. The Z offset is broken, but the mesh works well. Yeah, that's 3D printing, right? The U1's doing well. Yeah, U1 is going well. I did a overhang test to see how that looked. The next thing I really need to do is do some mixing of materials, like PLA and PTG, and then probably TPU and a rigid material. And then I think I've got enough to probably put together at least a, 1 month or month and a half. I think it would be a 1 month review at that point. The one thing I'm kind of curious about, which I saw them post, and I don't know if this is, it seems to me more like not a limitation of the U1, but more like a limitation of slicing software. I was under the impression, coming from someone that hadn't used tool changers prior to recently, that you could have like a 0.4 nozzle on one tool head, a 0.6 on another, and a 0.8. Let's just say you have 3.4 nozzles and a 0.8 nozzle. I was under the impression that on the same print, you could choose to use the 0.8 for infill and then use a 0.4 for the exterior perimeters. But I saw a notation in the Snapmaker's U1 FAQ saying that you couldn't mix and match nozzle sizes in the same print. So got it. Clipper doesn't. Okay, that sucks. Because that's, to me, like, granted, like, there's other benefits of tool changers, right? Like faster, less waste, and you can mix materials. But I was like, that was something I've been really excited for, was being able to print large prints with a big infill nozzle and a smaller perimeter nozzle to still keep that exterior detail. Adam with the 23 months. Thank you so much, man. Cheers, buddy. Are you doing any traveling for the rest of the year for any of the shows? I think that, what's still going on? We had most of the shows already, right? Is there anything else still happening? There's I can't remember. I think E3D, did they move their event to next year now? I can't remember if that was last year that they moved it to this year, or if this year they moved to next year. Gotcha. Okay, so the Prusa XL. Yeah, I think Prusa XL uses like a pretty heavily modified version of what was Marlin. I wonder if that's in the queue for development, because that, with tool changers becoming more and more common and running Clipper, like I've got the ProForge and the U1 now, I feel like that's something that there's gonna be more and more demand for. So, okay, Smurf is March. Got it. Hey, Kennick. Did you already start swapping out your electronics on yours, man? It's been a fun adventure. That's why they call it the venture, because it will certainly set you on an adventure. I thought for sure we'd be printing like 2 weeks ago at this point, but there's just been a lot of little things. So I have a feeling that the last issue I think we're really going to have to address, outside of maybe whatever's going on. Well, I'm curious to see whether it can even extrude while it's printing, because the manual extrude command seems to make it freak out. But I'm getting some kind of micro SD card error, and when I did a quick search at midnight last night, because that was like the icing on the cake, I was like, oh, I thought we were going to be printing. It seemed like what I saw, it might have been related to traffic on CAN bus network or some limitation of the Clipper host. I saw Esoterical made a little write-up on something you can do to basically make the host prioritize Clipper over other services running on it. So we'll see. Kraken installed, nice. New toolhead is ready. Hopefully finishing wiring up Friday and then config time. Are you keeping for the bed scanner the Cartographer, or did you switch over to Eddie or Beacon? I did see the toolhead you posted. It looks really nice. I may go Beacon. Okay. Have you had much issues with Cartographer? I will say, like I mentioned a moment ago, but I had some issues because they recently updated like the repos and split things, and they were really quick to reply, and everyone that I interacted with, both the like project creator as well as just community, was like really helpful, which was awesome. It's already flashed for USB. My Carto is in CAN bus mode. Got it. Depends how lazy I'm feeling. Hey Timur, you didn't miss much. I mean, we've been able to home it, and we've been able to scan. Hey Croc, how's it going? Thank you so much for the 20 months. It's going pretty good, man. Things have been kind of crazy here. I mean, everyone here that's been here regularly knows we now have a 8-week-old as of Sunday, well, this upcoming Sunday, and that's been insane. We had family staying with us for, I think, 3.5 weeks roughly, which was awesome. That was really, really, really helpful while we were trying to figure out how to juggle 2 kids And my parents just got into town last night, so they drove from California to here, straight shot. And
for the Where's the Giant Benchy Fund.
Andrew, thank you so much, man, for the $9.99. I appreciate it. So yeah, my parents got into town last night. Today they're basically going to be sleeping after driving for 15 hours or whatever it was. And they've got a house out here, and then so they'll be out here through April. So I'm super excited. They haven't met their newest grandson yet, so really looking forward to hanging out with them, and it'll be nice having an extra set of hands to help out with, you know, watching the kiddos. Gotta head out. Good luck with the print. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you stopping by. All right, we're almost at temp. And if this airs out, like I said, when we print this again, I'm just gonna keep the bed cold until we know that things seem to be working. I really wanted to get this variable bed heating set up. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, he's a cool little dude. He's a chunky monkey, man. When he came out, he was, I think, 7 pounds. So like he was pretty skinny, like kind of a long baby. And he has been eating, he has been, or drinking, but, you know, drinking a whole lot of milk. He went from skinny little baby to like, make sure you lift up all the chins to get the milk. Extra hands for the printer build. Yep. I think that Canik might have taken off, so I don't know if he'll be able to answer that. Octopus Pro, I'm sure. Okay, bed heating complete. Cool. So now what's happening? Nothing is happening. Extruder still shows off. Is it stabilizing? Maybe it's stabilizing temps for a sec here. Not a lot going on. Oh, let's look. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was just doing its thinking thing. Can you guys see what's happening? Hey, Ken. Maurice with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, man. Definitely do some sound effects. Let's see. We'll do, I don't know. Oh, I can't even. Oh, great. My stream deck stopped working. What's going on? That's resetting. Okay, so it's doing a quad gantry leveling real quick. Here we go. Sound effects. Let's do a little air horn action and I wonder what's for dinner. Zombie with the 39 months. Thanks so much. Thanks for putting this build together. It really shows how hard it is to build a big machine. Well, dude, cheers to that. Thank you so much for the banana too, man. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, there's a lot of things that I think FYSETC could have done better with this. Like, I will fully say that. A lot of it comes down to really documentation. I think more than anything, I felt like there's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of mislabeled things, and there's assumptions along the way that I don't think assumptions are a good thing to make, generally speaking. Also, the cable chain is like kinked this way and wants to fall off. But the things I think they did well, like I think that for the extrusions, okay, so we did quad gantry level fine. Okay, so now it's doing a quick like scan home where it's just using the scanner. Now it should go to the new spot I outlined for it. Okay, so now it's, yeah. So now see, I offset it. So now when it homes on the nozzle, it's not in that center point. I still probably could move it more to the center of a bed and have it be even less, you know, at a meeting point of beds, but this is at least not the very center. But yeah, I think that like a lot of the hardware I'm not upset with that they did. I feel like the extrusions are solid. I don't have any complaints with the motors. The rails seem fine. The big touchscreen's really nice. I don't know how well the host works on the back end of it. The hot end is ridiculous that they chose. That's definitely a silly one. So that they could have done better, even though I swapped it already. But okay, so that worked. Now we're doing a quick variable scan or variable mesh. Okay, so now we got an error. This is the error. Installing my Trident Z mounts. Thinking of you. Oh man. Yeah, you're doing CNC parts. Okay, so this is the error we got, and this is what I kept getting yesterday. So I don't remember getting this specific one, the M109S unable to parse, but this one, the SD card reset file cannot be run from the SD card. I don't know what is causing this. And I think that when I looked yesterday, I saw that, well, even in that small distance, we have a 0.2 range, but that's fine. It should be able to print in that range fine. SD card file reset. I looked at this and I'm pretty sure I ended up finding, hold on here. I think that I found something in Discord last night when I was looking at FYSETC. All right, so let's see. SD card, yeah, this is where I was looking at this. LTX shared this. I'm gonna make a couple of assumptions right at the start. The assumption could be different. Your printer gets an error along the lines of timeout during homing, or timeout during probing, or timeout during homing probing. I would say that this was a timeout during homing, maybe. Let's see, once your print is printing, it doesn't error out. It only happens when during access or bed mesh. Please read the relevant sections. This kind of problem is usually the cause of your Pi not keeping up with Clipper during a homing or probing operation, which feels like that could be correct. The operations require very tight timings, and an underpowered board or board with a lot of background processes going on can sometimes miss a timing window and causes error. Or sometimes a board that should work fine still doesn't, which I suspect is something lower level in the Linux kernel, but that's a discussion, not a discussion here. My current favorite way of making sure the Clipper service has the first take of CPU cycles is via changing the niceness value of the Clipper service. Niceness is how the operating system determines which service applications have a higher priority when it comes to giving them CPU cycles to work with. By default, the operating system critical kernel level stuff will have a niceness of -20, and standard service applications has a niceness of 0. The lower the niceness, the higher priority it has, and so it will be given CPU cycles before other things. In order to use this to our advantage and make the Clipper service have higher priority over other things, over the Pi, we need to add a single line to our clipper.service config file. Okay, so let's SSH in and see if this does it. Hey, Kegel! So, SSH, FYSETC at, oops, that's not at 192.168.105. Is it 138 or 183? I keep forgetting. 138. Okay, 0.138. Password is FYSETC. Okay, so let's do this. It's a copy file, nice. Nope, that didn't work. All right, we'll manually copy this. Okay. So, and then add nice equals -10 to the bottom of what is already there. Okay. Nope. Nice. Is it all capitals or is it not all capitals? No, it's not. It's nice equals, nope, that's not useful. Nice. Nice equals -10. Let's see. Be very careful to make the change -10. Doing it just nice10 will make the Clipper service too nice, and therefore we'll be back at the place we went. Now just sudo. Okay, so let's go. Control S to save. Yeah, and then Control X, and then it wants us to do a sudo reboot now. Okay. All right, let's see if this does anything. So we're also going to just probably turn off the bed heaters for this, just because if it's gonna air out more times we're doing more troubleshooting, I don't want us to wait 20 minutes or 15 minutes each time we need to try something. All right, so our beds are currently, oh, firmware restart. Our beds are still at 55C. Okay, maybe I lied. Maybe we will just we'll just print and see what happens. Our beds are pretty much already at temp. Fingers crossed, everyone. If this does it, I'd be stoked. I based off of my experience and hours I've spent kind of troubleshooting this, I am, yeah, bed heating complete already. Sick. I have my doubts. I think rightfully so at this point. But if this does it, I would be over the moon excited. Is there a line SD card reset in your cancel print macro? The error popped up after the error. Wait, is there a line SD card reset in your cancel print macro? That error popped up after the error that canceled the print. That's a great question. I can check. There is, under cancel print, SD card reset file. Do you think I should disable? I can scroll up higher. Do you think I should disable that? It's possible then what you're saying, then that's not the error, right? Like it threw an error before that, it seemed like almost. And then when it went to cancel the print based off that error, that's when it threw it. Okay, if it does the error again, we'll disable this line and then we'll look at the thing that it showed prior. Because it did say unable to parse, and then it was like an, I don't know, I don't remember the exact command. Actually, I can probably check, can't I? If I go, no, I can't, we've restarted, okay. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Oh, the error is gone though. So oh no, it is. SD card reset cannot be run from the SD card. Okay, so this seems like this is an error that's coming from the cancel, but this is what we need to figure out. The M109S unable to parse. So I wonder if that is possibly also an error with my naming convention. So let's go printer.cog. I don't know, what does the reset SD card even do in the cancel print macro? I mean, I'm gonna disable it for now because it's just erroring out. So we will remove that, but the error seems to be happening. So a print start, bed mesh calibrate, M109 extruder. It's probably because it needs to be extruder temp, doesn't it? This is basically saying pass extruder, like we're taking the dot extruder from the slicer, setting it to an object, oops, I shouldn't rename that, but called extruder underscore temp. So I think that's the issue we're running into, is just a naming issue. So underscore temp, save and restart. That's also calling a macro, is it not? All right, I'm gonna hit print again. While it's doing that, we can see if there's a macro that's called that. Is it not a clipper? Hey Liz! M109 is a heat up error. M109 is unable to parse. Sounds like it doesn't understand the renamed M109. Yeah, I agree. I think it was a naming issue with what we just did. Why is it not? Okay. Okay, it is printing. So let's check in under this section one more time. Hey, nice. Oh, nice. It has your name. That is gonna trip me out for a while. Oh man. Hey, Luke. Okay. So the command that's having the issue is SD reset file, SD card reset file. So if we go SD card reset file. There's only one instance of it, so I don't know. I don't know what SD card reset file does exactly. Is that a mainsail thing? I wonder if we don't have virtual SD card module set. I wonder if that's it. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's just see if this works. Fingers crossed, everyone. It looks like it's trying to call the macro called SD card reset. I just wonder where. I know that in mainsail. Let me see. Mainsail SD card macro. It's been a while since virtual SD card. Virtual SD card allows G-code file uploads. Include mainsail.cfg. Yeah, something tells me. Is it wait? Did it work? It's working. It's working. It's working. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Are we heating up to the right temp? Oh my God, we're heating up to 220. All right, baby. All right, baby. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Oh. All the good vibes, all the good vibes. Lay down a square. That's all we want. Just lay down a little square, buddy. I'll change it. I'll change the camera once it gets closer to temp here. Come on, baby. It's so funny. My mother-in-law, we called them last night while we were having dinner, and Jackson was saying hi, and she said happy early stream day, because they know that like every Wednesday I stream, and it was late last night, and I was like, oh, wish me luck. You know, I've been working on this printer for like 3 months, and she said something about like, well, I hope the printer gods bless you or something like that, and I was like, I literally say that. It made me happy. Come on, Square. Chant Square in chat. All right, we're at 170. I'm just really curious about the extrusion, because the fact that it was tripping out when I was just trying to just extrude some filament. I don't know whether there's an issue with the extrusion, or it's the tool head board, or whether it's just the extrude macro, or what the deal is, but we'll see. I feel like the hot end takes longer to heat up than it should, but I do need a PID tune, so that could be part of it. And then also, it is sort of chilly in here, and I don't usually print in the garage in an open printer during wintertime. Think of the toys you can't print. Thanks. Thanks for that one. Come on, Square. All right, we've crossed over. It's gonna take a second for it to actually hit temp, because I need a PID tune. It's like, it went 224, now it's back down to 214. If we get a Square printing, then I'm fine with doing some like PID tuning and some calibration stuff. I just want to see if we can get this thing to print. If it'll even print. It might not print before I PID tune, because now we're back at 224. It might take too long to stabilize. Yeah, it's definitely bouncing. I'll give it like 2 minutes before I decide whether we're just going to PID tune it. Yeah, it's definitely bouncing around a lot. I have a feeling we're going to have to PID tune, which makes me sad. It's like going back and forth between 234 and 216. It's not stabilizing. I tried printing PLA for the first time on Micron. It took like 5 minutes before the temp calmed down. Yeah, I should have at least PID tuned the hot end, because of that's a fast thing, and it's just bouncing all over the dang place. All right, Well, let's cool down. Hold on. All right, we're gonna cancel it. We're gonna do a quick PID tune of the hot end. It shouldn't take long, I don't think. All right, so let's make sure our beds are at, why are our beds at 60? I thought we were just shooting up to 55. I'm gonna set them to 55. That could be a PID thing as well, but that's why they're shooting up to 58, but I'm gonna set it to 55. Let's let our hot end cool down briefly here. Let's set our fan, to 50% roughly. Our layer cooling fan. And then we'll just wait for it to cool down for a minute here. Voron startup. Oh, clean sale. Doesn't matter for what we're doing. I just need PID tune. And we're gonna do, what are we trying to get? 220, I think, right? Hey! Oh my gosh, 41 months. Thank you so much, Nice, for all the continued support, man. I've been doing a lot of digging, a lot of late nights watching pretty much every mini split install video that exists. And what was I doing right now? Oh yeah, I was just checking to see what temp it was at. So it's trying to print at, yeah, 220. So let's let this get a little bit cooler. Ooh, fly. Let's let it drop down at least like another 50C, the hot end at least. So for everyone that missed it, I did get electrical installed on this side of the garage, and there is now a quick disconnect for a AC unit outside here. So I'm saving up. I've been saving up for a mini split, so that way it's not freezing or scorching in here during the peak of the summer and the peak of the winter. And I was leaning towards Mr. Cool for a really long time, primarily because it's like DIY friendly. I've seen relatively decent things about it, and the main thing is like it's already pre-charged, the line, and the unit is pre-charged with the right amount of Freon, and the line set is already vacuumed and ready to go. So you basically bolt the thing onto here, run, like drill a hole, round the stuff outside, connect it all, and you just go. The biggest thing I don't like is because the line is pre-vacuumed, they do not let you shorten it. If you shorten it, it voids the warranty. So just about everybody that installs it, the shortest distance I think they have is like 15 feet, and I only need like 6 feet or whatever the smallest amount is for the correct Freon to line ratio. And so a lot of people just coil it and like tuck it behind it, but it looks pretty bad in my opinion, and I don't think it's really great longevity for the mini split to have just a coil of the line set. So I've been looking at other options, and I did find a company that is similarly priced, maybe a little bit cheaper. I think a little bit cheaper, maybe $400 cheaper, but the Freon is in the unit itself, but the lines, you don't void your warranty by cutting them. And so I'm probably gonna go with that. And then basically so then with like the copper lines, I would cut them, I would get a flaring tool. There's some like nylon set stuff that you put on the flares and then tighten it down. But I'm just still trying to figure it out because it is a pretty good investment. It's gonna cost a couple $1,000s, and longevity is important, right? And it working and doing what it's supposed to. So I feel like I've watched, yeah, please don't roll it. That's what I don't know if I do Mr. Cool. They have issues with the fittings and no shortenings. Yeah. And if you leave it, you have to coil it flat, or else they can be pulling up the refrigerant. That's what I've seen. Nylog 2. I'm not an HVAC guy, and it was easy. What company did you go with, Nick, if you don't mind me asking? Also, Ballant, thank you so much for becoming a member. Cheers, man. Yeah, I know that from the guys that have coiled it, the main thing I've seen from HVAC guys is if you have to coil it, you don't want to lay it vertically. If you lay it vertically, I've heard that it can pool like oil or something like that in the vertical section, and that can basically cause it to degrade quicker and just kill the life of your unit quicker. So you want to have it horizontally, but there's not really an easy way to have it horizontally. I don't want to bolt it to the house, so it's going to be basically on like one of those foam core concrete exterior slab things bolted down to it. So I've been just watching. I don't know anything about HVAC prior to like the last few weeks of my life, but I've been watching like everything about it. And I will say that it seems like with every trade, I know electricians have very strong opinions on what's okay and what's not, but HVAC guys also are very, very opinionated, right? Nice. I've just been reading like Reddit and forums. I'm like, oh my gosh, even like something looks perfect, but there's always like someone, like an HVAC person that's like, no, you did this wrong. So I'm gonna do my best with it, but I'm sure I will. Don't use legal lock, or it is similar. Eventually you can thread lock. I don't know if is it the stuff I saw, I don't think goes on the threads. I think it goes on the actual flares itself. Once you cut those lines, you have to now pull the vacuum. So I was watching, that's another thing I was watching. So let's do a PID tune while we're doing this. That way everyone's not just listening to me talk about HVAC. So we're gonna do target 220. Okay, we're PID tuning. So I did see that, yes, if you cut the lines, you have to do the vacuum yourself. But I saw that there's a kit that people recommend that is not something you'd use if you're a tradesman, obviously. But for a DIY person, it was like 120, 130 bucks, something like that. And it gives you the vacuum as well as a set of gauges that should work for it. So I did see that. Basically, you have to vacuum the line. I can't remember where you want to vacuum it down to as far as the gauge goes, but then you want to leave it. I've seen different times, but the main thing I've seen is like for at least an hour, and make sure that you haven't lost any vacuum of the vacuum seal. If you have, then you know that your fittings or your flares are not correct and you need to change that. I also saw something about something else that they recommended doing with the lines, which was called, I think I took a screenshot of it because I was, where was it? Great job. As an HVAC tech, I will only mention, so this says, test your flares with nitrogen. That's another thing I saw, which I haven't watched a video on yet, but I've seen a few people say that. I've seen a couple of guys where they just vacuum the lines, use the gauges, wait 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and then once it's good, then they basically release the Freon and go with it. But I have not seen anyone do the nitrogen testing, but I have seen a few HVAC guys say that you need to do nitrogen testing, and I don't know what that entails or what the cost is of that. Put nitrogen on it if you can. Yeah, I don't know what would be required, like cost-wise. I know that the vacuum itself and the gauges aren't real expensive for, one that will work a few times for a DIY setup, but I don't know what the process is like of getting the nitrogen and using that. That's a press turn test. If you vacuum stays the same for an hour, you have no leaks. Yeah. It doesn't look, the flaring, like if you get the flaring tool, so yeah, it would be basically the vacuum with the gauges, the flaring tool, and then I guess the nitrogen as well. And that would be everything. Nitrogen test should be done always, no matter what system. It's not super required. The guys who do mine just vacuum it down to like 150 microns and just let it rip. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that. I've seen a lot of people just do the vacuum method. In Europe, we're obliged to do it with 42 bar for R32. I'll start doing some looking into the nitrogen stuff. Well, yeah, the company that specifically I'm looking at, which I know is not like an expensive one compared, Pioneer is the brand that I've been looking at. It seems like inexpensive, but if you install it correctly, I've seen multiple people that are like, yeah, I've gotten 5 to 10 years, it's working fine. But then of course you got the people that are like, it broke right away. But you always have to wonder, like, are these one-off situations, and did they install it correctly, right? Like, did they check the lines? Maybe they had a leak all along, or who knows, I've done a lot of auto AC work. Lovely AC coil. Okay, so we are still doing the PID tune. Is there a way to zoom out on this? I've never seen this before where I can't actually see the entirety of the peaks. Like it's outside of this. Doesn't seem like you can drag. Scrolling doesn't do it. kind of odd. Pioneer is the same as Della. I got the Della one for less money. I got the 12K BTU 120 volt. Got it. Bottom line is you have to be thorough when installing one of those. Yeah, it seems like the main thing is really the lines, right? Like that seems to be the main thing. The other question I have that I haven't done research on yet is, so you have a certain amount of Freon that's like in these systems. And I understand that if you have a longer line than what's intended, you need to add additional Freon basically to compensate for it. But in my situation where it's literally mounting here and going here, I mean, we're talking, I'm 6 foot. It's probably not going to be more than like an 8-foot run. So the question I have then is there a minimum? Is there a minimum? Like what were to happen if, let's say I got a line that was the shortest line, and let's say from Pioneer, it's like 15 feet, and I chop it down to 8 feet. Do I have to then remove Freon from the system, or is it not an issue if there's additional Freon? I don't, that's the one thing that I've been wondering about. Is there, I keep seeing a maximum when I've looked. I'm not seeing a minimum. For my system, it was 3 meter. The biggest thing is having a variable compressor will save a lot on power since it can ramp up and down, much like the different PID methods for hot ends. Old bang bang method works, but not great. Got it. You can mess with the gauges to run it, to tune it correctly. I've seen people say that they haven't really had an issue with shortening the lines, but not removing refrigerant. Okay. Hey, Steve. Steve's here. Steve! Why does that come up with 2 Ys? Never noticed that before. That is a good question. I don't... You know what? I think it's because they changed things now, Steve, where it's like it's the handles. So I think that my main channel might be Modbot Army, because Modbot was taken by, there's like a robotics channel. And then I think this one, I might have done 2 Ys because that's all I could think of. That's another thing. Systems are filled up for a maximum hose length normally 50 meters. If you add more line length, you have to add. Okay, got it. So we think that shortening is probably fine, but adding is where you need more. We're just talking mini split stuff, Steve. I got the electrical work done. So there's a 30 amp. I think it's a 120. I think it's a 120, but I think that what I'm going to be running is probably a 230. So, but it is a 30 amp. So I'm just trying to figure out now what system I want to do. And I'm probably going to go with one where I'm going to have to actually like flare the line myself, because the Mr. Cool one, I don't love the idea of having a big coil just sitting outside next to the unit. Okay, so okay, PID is done. So let's try this again. So PID is done. Let's see if we can, or just see if we can get our square, guys and girls, guys and gals. Simple answer, get HP Tech. I want to do it myself, man. The cost is so expensive of having someone come out. I really want to do it myself. I'll watch a little bit more. I'll watch a few more videos. I feel pretty good about a lot of it. Like, I'm not excited about drilling a decent sized hole in the house. I know like the full order, I'll just put the camera here while it's doing this thing. I know that like the order of operation is basically, I'll do the inside stuff first. You want to drill using like a drill hole saw thing at a slight angle downward. That way if there's any water or moisture, it goes out of the house instead of in or stagnating in there. And then the outside, yeah, it's really mainly cutting the line, flaring the line, pressure testing the line or the nitrogen test, then hooking it up, releasing the Freon, and then cleaning up the line. Basically, I think they usually use like a nylon wrap, and then I'll probably get like a vinyl, you know, like a vinyl cover thing for it that I'll drill onto the house. Was right at 10K for the two units I installed. Yeah, the price of the one I'm looking at is around $2,000. The Mr. So I think that based off the sizing of the garage, I probably have to go with a 24,000 BTU. I was trying to get away with an 18, but this garage is so open that even though this is really where I want to heat, this is 20 feet by 20 feet. Plus there's a bonus pocket over here that adds an additional 10 feet by, I don't know, 12 feet. And then this side is 10 feet by 20 feet. No, 10 feet by probably 24 feet. So it looked like 1800 BTU was like right on the edge of what was recommended. So I think I have to go with the next size up. And I think the Mr. Cool unit was like 24, 25, and the Pioneer was like 19 roughly. But with the Pioneer, I have to buy gauges and the flare tool and the vacuum, which will end up adding a couple hundred. So cost will be similar between those two. 18 should be enough depending on installation. I mean, I would gladly do 18. Like, I don't want to spend extra money if it's completely unnecessary, you know? And there is insulation. The walls are insulated, the roof is insulated. I mean, for perspective, like right now, granted there's a printer in here, but it says it's 69 Fahrenheit in the garage right now, while outside is 51. So it's usually about at least a 10 Fahrenheit, give or take, difference between interior and exterior. I was considering 9 or 12 for my 8x12 shed, and it was worth it. For 12, got it. A manual J calculation is the only real way to know sizing. You got a 12 and a 24 units 3K with a 36 torque condenser. Got it. So you have a two. Yours is a 2-zone then, like a single outdoor unit, but a 2-zone. So no, you have one. Are both of yours directly in the ceiling, Steve, or just one? I know that I haven't seen you have a wall mount. I know you showed me you have like one that's in your, in the center of the roof of the garage. I have no insulation. Okay, we're heating up. All right, everyone. This is where we start chanting square, square, square. Let's see if we can print out a square. Come on, buddy. Both are ceiling. Okay, got it. The ceiling ones definitely look nicer, but I feel like for the sake of DIY, which is the route I'm planning on doing, like it seems trickier to install. I feel a lot more comfortable doing the the wall-mounted unit. But I do think that the ceiling one looks, I mean, it's really, really clean. And probably distributes air more evenly since it's center versus favoring one side of the room. Gotcha. Is the shed like where you're doing work out of then? Is that why you primarily want to get it, or is it like an office type shed? All right, come on, baby. We are so close. We are so close. Oh, please. Ceiling was not an option here. Walmart only concrete. Oh gosh, yeah, that changes everything. I tried a portable AC before I got a mini split, and it was stupid. I've got printers in there, so the stink and heat is out of the house. Got it. Yeah, we're hopefully doing a shed next year, but it won't be. I'm planning on just basically there's a 20 amp circuit they installed that it's just got lights on it. And so they're gonna just go off of that and install, I think, like 2 receptacles and a light. I primarily see myself using it for charging like power tools and stuff like that. And oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's doing things. I see filament coming out. Hold on. That's a hell of a purge line. It's interesting that it's printing over there, though. That doesn't seem right. because that's not where it's scanned. So I have to figure out why that happened. But it is extruding filament. The Z offset does not seem right. It definitely seems too far away. There's gaps between it, so yeah, it's... I'm not convinced it's going to stick down, but it is printing, and that is very exciting. Oops, sorry. It's out of focus. I can change the where was the print on the bed? I think it was dead center. Yeah, dead center. So that's not right. Look, it's right in the middle of the bed. I'll have to look at... I'll have to check that out after this. We'll see if it even sticks, because the Z offset is definitely not right. But the Z offset might not be right. Actually, I don't know why it's not right, because that is where it probed. I'm guessing the difference is scan location and where it's printing is because of the offset you put in for homing. Yeah, I have a feeling that's what it is too. The offset I put in for the nozzle probing, because that's right about where it probed. It's definitely dragging on the front print. I can hear drag. Boy, is that scanner. You know what? I think that the beacon, or not the beacon, the cartographer is dragging on the square. That's totally, is absolutely what's happening. That's not ideal. How would we prevent that from happening? I'm trying to think. If we have a big print, it's always going to be over filament. Can I get you anything? I'm okay. Thanks, son. But yeah, the bolts of the it's the bolts of the board are what's dragging. So they are button heads, which I think is what we were supposed to use. Oh yeah, it's coming off. But it's coming off, I mean, it's partially because of the fact that it's partially coming off because it was too far away, but it was also dragging. So that's not, pausing is not working either, which is probably because of the fact that it thinks it's in a different location than it is. There's a spider that just landed on me from the ceiling. That's fun. Okay, so yeah, clearly this is, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but it's too far from the bed. But it did print, so it does indeed extrude. But I don't like that the bolts are dragging. The part looks decent. Okay, so let's do a couple things here. Let's start by, did I stop the print or did I pause the print? Stop print. Okay. So let's
Smash
home.
the thumbs up emoji, everyone.
Thank you, nice. Let's do a picture. Okay, so let's keep our beds at temp. All right, so I'm gonna make sure all of our beds are still heated up. Okay, now let's home everything again. Let's see if I can bring this down. It's really awkward because of that bar. Let me bring this up a little higher. Probably easier than, let's see, we'll go up 50 more. I think that the Cartographer is 2.6 to 3 millimeters range, but the bolts, you know, are making it, like the bolts are not 2.6 to 3 millimeter range. As far as I'm aware, the height of the Dragon hot end that I swapped in is the exact same length as the hot end that they shipped with that I decided not to use. So I don't think that that had an impact on it. But it's definitely pretty dang, it's pretty dang low, dude. I don't know if that's too, that looks pretty, it looks pretty, I mean, you guys aren't getting a really good angle. It's pretty close to being almost parallel with it as far as the bolts go. I want to cool, is the nozzle cooling down? Yeah, the nozzle is cooling down. This is the high flow one. Yeah, that looks too close. That looks very close. Is this one of the CNC carriages that needed 1.8 millimeters trimmed? This is the first time I've heard of that. What I can do, not right this second, but I just got in a FYSETC Rapido V2 ultra high flow. Hey, you gotta put some clothes on, buddy. Hey, Jack, you gotta go put clothes on first. Hey, go put clothes on. Come on, come on. Hey, go put clothes on and you can come say hi, okay? It's cold out here, dude. Mommy will help you, then you come back, okay? Comes out here and just as skippies. Yes, it printed, but we ran into another issue, which is that the hot end is too short for this mount. For this specific Does anybody know for this specific carriage, do I need a special stealth burner? I actually don't even, I don't need to reprint I don't need to reprint the front housing, right? Do I? I think I just need to reprint the actual hot end mounting location. You don't have a longer nozzle. I might. I can check. I can definitely check to see if I've got a longer nozzle. Let me see what this looks like. And I can just go run upstairs and grab some nozzles. I might. It's a definite maybe. Wow, that is not coming off. There we go. So this looks like just what, like a standard, yeah, it's like a standard V6. I can see if I do. I don't know for certain that I do. I think that, I wonder if I have one of the Creality nozzles. If I remember correctly, the Creality nozzles, the threads are the same, but it's longer. So it would stick out a little bit and that might give us what we need. What, baby? Do you want to say hi really quick? Okay, Jack wants to say hi. And then I'll go see if I can find a different nozzle for right now. Oops. That wasn't good. Oops. Hey, stand up real quick. Ugh. Stand up. Can you say hi? Say hi, forward. Don't press the buttons, please. Say hi. Hi. I will bring the... You did not what? Did you mess up the... No, I think we're okay. What is that, buddy? That's a bolt. Daddy needs those. Daddy, those are for the screen. Oh, I can. Daddy needs that too. Give me your feet. I gotta put socks on you, dude. Can't be in the garage barefoot. Let me see your foot. Yeah, it is red. Uh-huh. Hey, please don't touch that, please. Ah. Yeah, there's 2 cameras. That's right. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, Daddy's gonna go try to find some nozzles and bring the hot end down as well. Can you say bye-bye? Here, stand up. No, wave. The camera. Wave. All right, buddy. All right, Daddy's gonna go outside real quick with you, okay? What? Daddy needs this. Daddy needs that. All right, let me go try to find. Can you shorten the standoffs? Can you not just shorten the standoffs and retap? I would have to take it apart and see what it looks like. I would probably rather not shorten the standoffs because I don't plan on keeping this hot end. I'm going to be installing the Rapido Ultra High Flow. So let me grab the hot end that I got so we can see if we can find the files for it. And I'll also see if I can find a longer nozzle. That way we can at least print for now. But yeah, I'll be right back. Give me one moment. Okay, the nozzle also looks too close to the shroud as well. The nozzle also looks close to the shroud as well, not just the probe. Should be approximately 2 millimeters from shroud to nozzle. Gotcha. You mean like the nozzle, as far as like height goes, looks too close, right? So let's see what this specific hot end is. I'm pretty sure it is. Hey, close the door, bud. That's cool. Mommy help you. Bring it to mommy. Okay. So this is this. Let me bring this off to the side here. Maybe I should do manual focus or automatic focus for a sec. Okay. Let's use this. You gotta close the door, buddy. Is the A4T what Nero's doing? There's a sticker. Okay, there we go. So here's this guy, which is definitely a bigger one. I think this is longer. Does it have it says annex package. Okay, so yeah, here's the longer heatsink for it. And does it have yeah, there's the extension piece for it as well. So this is what I'm gonna put in here. It makes a lot more sense than even the Dragon high flow. I guess I have the high flow, not the ultra high flow. I didn't even know there was an ultra high flow. So this one is just the one that has like that little insulation ring on it. As far as nozzles go though, for at least right now, I think what we can probably do is, this is still at 55C, so maybe I won't set everything down on it. I think I can use, nope, that's definitely too big. Let me see what nozzles I've got here. These are all micro Swiss. These are all, maybe I didn't bring down the right nozzles. This looks like a V6. This looks slightly longer, but it's a V6 as well. I don't think this will give us, I don't think that'll give us much more length. Wrap V6. Yeah, it's cool, buddy. Jack's showing me his castle. What are these, dude? These are crazy looking. Bye-bye, I love you. These are really long nozzles. I don't even think this is the same thread type. I don't know where I got these from. These are kind of wild looking. The thread does actually look, is it the same threading? We could throw one of these on. These are just brass, but they've got probably enough distance to give us what we need. Let's try this just for fun. Wait, these are all 0.2 millimeter nozzles? If that's the case, then we can't, no, they're all 0.2 millimeter nozzles. That's not gonna work. I have no idea why I've got a massive pack of long-throated 0.2 millimeter nozzles, but that is certainly not gonna work. Oh, you know what? I've got my like dump tray of different nozzles. This is just where nozzles that don't have like a specific brand or anything go to live. So yeah, we've got stuff we can use, I think, here. This looks like the nozzles that were on the CR6. There is no indicator of what diameter orifice it has, though. Yeah, 0.2 seems... I'm not a fan of 0.2 in general, but this definitely seems like a place where a 0.2 would be kind of ridiculous. How come these don't have... That's wild. These nozzles don't have any sort of writing on them. They look really small, the tip of them. I mean, I know it's hard to tell by just eyeballing it, but there's gotta be one in here that says, got some volcano nozzles. Take old one out and look. These all look the same. Oh, no, they're not. They're definitely not. That one's smaller right there. You know what? I can also just grab one that says 0.4 and just sort of compare. So this one, oops, this one says 0.4. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is a 0.4. Okay, well, we'll try one of these guys. So it should have the same threads, but give us an extra few millimeters. So hopefully, the only thing is I will have to rerun the touch operation. This is a very temporary fix though. The plan is that I will go rapido. I just need to figure out what I need to print. Okay, so the next thing I need is to find a little wrench. I think I usually, let's see, will this guy work? Let's see if this works. Negative. That is going to be a big no. There should be a tiny little spanner wrench in here somewhere that I use, I think. This might be it. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Let's heat this up to 220. Someone at FYSETC must have had a sense of humor, or it could just be their unusual lack of attention to detail. Well, this isn't a FYSETC thing. This is probably a me thing. I'm pretty sure that I checked before installing this, and the Dragon high fill that I had was the exact same height as the hot end they included. But then again, at the same time, like, I printed these parts out from the repo. These are not the PETG parts that they included with the kit, so I don't know whether they changed the files up because they decided to go with a different hot end, or maybe it was always going to be an issue. I don't know. I'll probably shoot Taylor a message, because I know that before he went with Tube, he was running a Rapido on this. So if he has the files that are going to work, I'll get those printed out and swap over to Rapido. Okay, I think this is hot enough where we can probably get this off. Once it gets ready to fall out, I want to make sure my hand is not directly underneath it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so this should give us extra length. I'm going to start by using my hands. I normally do. And then as soon as I feel it get hot, I'm going to move my hands very quickly, which is, it's going to happen fast. All right, right about there. So yeah, this nozzle definitely sticks down further. I mean, I still need to tighten it a bit more, but this actually doesn't fit. So maybe this is what we need for this guy. There we go. Okay, that's as tight as I feel comfortable going. I don't think we're gonna be able to, no, we should be able to still use our sock. I'm gonna cool it down briefly though before I try to put the sock on, because while I've done this a lot and I feel pretty confident in my ability to not get burned, I also know when not to. Do you think it's the Cartographer CNC mount or FYSETC? The testers I spoke to before you started mostly went with Dragon or Rapid burners. Okay. Oh, 0.6 or 0.8. Got it. Yeah, I mean, once we install the Rapido, I don't doubt that I'll probably end up throwing a larger nozzle on here. I do want to do some Q-Forge, and so I don't know how that will play out, like having a wider nozzle for the detail. But we'll find out. I don't know, Kali, though. If I use the PTG parts it came with and the hot end it came with, then I would feel more confident in saying. But because I printed out new parts, I mean, the parts were the only ones I saw in their GitHub repo as far as the stealth burner stuff. So, in the hot end, I'm 99% sure that I checked and saw that it was indeed the same length as what they had given me to install on here. Am I doing this the right way? Not tell. Yeah, there we go. Maybe it's not gonna fit. I feel like it should still. Let me check from a different angle. There we go. I think. Yeah, that's on, sort of. It's good enough. Okay, that looks a little better to me. Let's take a look at this. That feels probably more in line with the gap that we want. That might be a little bit on the high end now. We'll see when we do the touch off, but that at least feels better than what we had going on. So I'm going to just quickly run another one of the calibrations with the with the Cartographer, so that way it gets a new value since our nozzle is quite a bit further away. I at least feel confident that we're not going to worry about bolts dragging anymore. So let's start off by just doing a homing sequence. Actually, I'm concerned now that it won't trigger in time. I'm gonna get ready to e-stop it if I see it go too far into the bed. I'm a little nervous. Yeah, nozzle hit. I don't want to go any further. Okay, so I'm gonna home it and probably redo the initial like paper test thing with it. So let's do this. Let's go from a restart. Wait, oh, shoot. Oh, I did not mean to home all again. Okay. Did the gang tell you why I've been AFK? Yeah. I can't remember. You said it was on the stairs, right? You said that she was, I can't remember exactly what. I thought it had something to do with the kiddos. Like she was reaching for a kiddo or something like that and stepped wrong. You told me it's been some weeks since I think you said. How is she doing? I remember you saying that the recovery was pretty dang long. Okay, so let's just home X. Okay. Let's try this again. So we are going to Cartographer docs. I feel like with this printer, there's going to be a lot of calibration ongoing for a long time. So we might end up just not continuing to do calibration on stream. We are going to be starting to build the Micron Plus soon. I reached out to Jason and LDO, and I'm just waiting on an update on the kit as well as the specific parts I need to print. I have the filament. I'm ready to rock and roll. So we are going to be moving on to that soon. What was I doing? Cartographer. Okay. So this is under installation, software calibration, scan calibration. Okay, we did that. I'm hoping that it can, like, I'm hoping that the nozzle is going to make it where it actually can trigger the sensor before it gets as close. 7 titanium screws. Dear God. 7 weeks later, we're getting close to the moon boot coming off. Nice. I've used Brave browser for like probably 5 years now, and I don't know. The notifications don't really bug me. I run it on my primary PC upstairs. They just don't really bug me. On stream, they bug me a little bit because I find it annoying that I'm trying to show stuff and it's on screen. But when I'm working, like, I just don't notice them. I might switch off from Brave though. But overall, like, I've been relatively happy with the browser. All right, so let's see if this will work. Should I buy K1 Max or P1S? Having both of those printers, if it were me, I'd be buying the P1S over the K1 Max. But there's a lot of factors before. There's a lot of factors that might go into that. But from my perspective, if those were my two printer options, I'm getting P1S. Okay, that is touching. It's probably a little bit too close, but we'll start with that. Okay. So the next thing we'll do is just really quickly the touch calibration, which hopefully will work better now that it's within a range that it's expecting. So we did that, save config, cool, touch calibration. So G28 XY, paste. We'll open up the giveaway. Oh my God, it's been an hour and 45. Holy cow. Yeah, we'll open up the giveaway in 15 minutes for Polymaker filament. I can't believe it's been that long. Okay, so now we're gonna do touch calibrate. I'm just gonna go with the default settings this time. So we will paste, we will change camera angle, and we will see what happens. I have a feeling my value that it triggers on will be very different. I still love my P1P. Oh, dude. Hey, 760. How's it going, man? I feel like you've been doing a bunch of crazy stuff, man. I don't know where. I don't know if it's on Twitter or if I follow this thing. I think it's probably on Twitter, but I feel like you did a bunch of traveling and then you've been working on a bunch of cool new products. I don't still have my P1P. I think I ended up selling it about a year ago. And not because I didn't like it. I just, with the X1 Carbon and the P1S, since I had both of those, it just wasn't getting use. And so when we were moving and I knew I had to get rid of some stuff, it ended up going on the chopping block. It's going good. I'm so busy. I work in the video game industry right now. Dude, I'm gonna, you know what? We're getting a sound effect for that. That's freaking awesome, man. That's sick. Are you doing something in like, because I know you were, it was not Rock Band, it was Guitar Hero stuff. Like, are you doing something like in that realm of musical video games, or is it completely unrelated? Okay, so that worked way better. My threshold was at 3,700 before, and now it's saying that my threshold is at 500. So that was a massive difference. So the only question I have is, do we want to try to figure out, that's super freaking cool, man. I'm really happy for you. I know that's like, I mean, you're super passionate about that. How big is this thing? This thing, the outside of it is, I think it's close to a meter cube. It might be more like 900 millimeters, but I think it's close to a meter. That's a great question. The plan is to build a cart similar to what it's on right now, but slightly smaller. Like I'll shave off oh shit, the wheel is hanging off on this side. Oh my God. Like a foot shorter on both sides of it. And then on the 2-car bay of the garage, that's where Erin parks. Like she takes up maybe a third of that. So the other 2/3, no, wait, that's not true. What am I saying? She takes up like half of that. So the other half of it, there's a little pocket over here that I think it can live. I think. I don't know, or it might go right here. I don't know. The issue is on that side that I just realized is that it wouldn't be anywhere near a dedicated circuit. So, but yeah, it's very big. It's a pretty tacoed bed. I can show you really quick. This was unheated and I still have a lot of configuration to do, but it was at 0.852. So it's 4 beds, 4 300 millimeter beds. So that's a big part of the issue is like, I don't know how tacoed it really is, but getting all 4 of the beds with 4 screws on each of them, so 16 screws total, perfectly aligned, is challenging to say the least. Just turn it into the bedroom. I know this is actually our youngest crib. It's got a built-in heater for those long cold nights. So I don't know. The thing that I changed right now is if I go under bed mesh. There we go. So the 0 reference distance is 400 and 400. That's why it is doing the touch off where it's at. So that makes me think that's possibly why when it was printing, it wasn't printing anywhere near center. If I go to the stepper config section, which is right here, and I go under stepper X, isn't this normally where it says like size of the axes as well? Or am I wrong? I wonder if that's it. It's not defined. No, this printer only uses CAN 2, not CAN 0 or CAN 1. I don't know why. Yeah, we had it down to I think 0.5 or 0.6 on the last stream, and then I had to do a bunch of stuff, and I'm not convinced that 0.8 is actually accurate. That's cold, so once it's warm, I'm sure it'll change a bit. Yeah, it only uses CAN 2. I have no idea why. It made flashing the Cartographer interesting, and they had to basically give me a custom, like instead of using their script, they had to give me a custom catapult command that used CAN 2 because it defaults to CAN network, I think 0. Let me see if there's anything in the slicer that could be tripping it out as well. I think, yeah, the size is set correctly. The link to join Discord is not valid. Oh, that sucks. I will try to update that soon then. But yeah, this says 600 by 600. I don't know why it's not printing in center. If anyone has a theory, let me know. Yeah, I really don't. I don't know. Height set correctly. This is 6 by 6. Distance I wouldn't think distance the 0, G coordinate from the front left corner. No, that's just offset from the front left corner. Is everything on CAN 2? Yeah, everything's on CAN 2. Everything's on CAN 2. The tool head board, the Cartographer, and I think that, I don't know about the primary board. I think the primary board is in like some kind of weird CAN bridge setup. Toolhead offset would have to be pretty massive though, right? You think like, are you thinking, when you say toolhead offset, you thinking like from the probe? Where am I looking? Printer. I got the H2S and I absolutely love it. Just wish it was 400 by 400. I have the H2D and I know like it's basically that, but a single-headed version, so I'm sure it's freaking awesome. Okay, so if we go to Cartographer, I don't think that's it. X offset 0 and XY, or I'm sorry, and Y offset 23, that seems fine. I mean, it was printing way off center. Like it was probably printing off center the distance that I put as the 0 reference. I am kind of curious to see if we do the 0 reference, if I change this back to the center of the bed, now that the nozzle's in the correct spot, whether it gives us less issues. We can try that, just because I'm curious if that's what caused it. So, end stop positions. I'm checking the reference docs, and you're right, you need to set the geometry with the steppers. It was not, was it printing in the center of one of the beds? Yeah, it was printing, yeah, I would say it was printing in the center of a single bed. Let's see if we go here, just go Clipper docs. Where is Clipper reference, configuration reference, and we go down to stepper. Let me just stepper. Rotation distance, nail pin, full steps, gear ratio, steps, end stop pin, position min, position, move to, position of end stop, location of the end stop. So position of end stop on this is, I mean, it's gonna be off the bed, right? Had same issue, give me a second, check config. Okay. But yeah, basically there's no definition under stepper of really anything other than rotation distance, micro steps, full steps for rotation, and then the pinouts. There's none of the other values. Location of the end stops in millimeters. This parameter must be provided for this. Position max. Maximum valid distance user may command the stepper to move to. Once you get it going, talk to Steve about the macros for Phoenix so you can just print on one bed and heat up. That would be awesome. Nothing. I think we've made some good progress. I'm just trying to figure out, like, when we were printing, it was printing as if it was a 300mm bed. Like, it was just using the back right bed and printing, I think, relatively center on it. I also wonder if I can just check, like, Voron 2.4 config. Because essentially, okay, so under stepper X, they have end stop pin. There we go. So position end stop and position max. So let's add these. and change these to 600, which isn't going to be fully accurate because it's off of the bed a little bit, I think. Oops, that was weird. Well, let's just try this and see if it makes a difference. Okay. I'm also going to do, okay, cool, this is already paired up. All right, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. So it's heating up the beds, which will take a sec. But yeah, I will ask Steve about macros then. There is a macro on here right now that does stagger the heating, which is at least nice to not blast all 4 beds at the same time. But if Steve has something that like gives it some intelligence based off of where on the bed coordinates you're printing, it only activates those heaters, that would be ideal. I'm also going to get the giveaway opening while this is heating up, just because it feels like it's time. I mean, it did print, so I mean, things are working, and now it's just a matter of like firmware dialing in and configuring some of the quirks, and probably getting that hot end swapped out. Here we go. Position end stop, position max. Yeah, I just added those. I just checked a 2.4, like the Voron 2.4 config, because I thought that seemed like usually those were defined there. So I did position end stop and position max 600 for both X and Y, which might not be exactly accurate because I think when it homes it goes off the bed a little bit, but it'll be at least a lot closer than what it was. Thank you for checking. I don't understand. It's stuff like that I just don't understand regarding this printer. I mentioned earlier, but like a lot of the hardware I'm not upset with. Like the extrusions seem fine, the rails seem fine, the motor seem fine, the screen seems fine. But all of the like little details, both of the build itself and the things that really matter in getting it working regarding firmware, just seem like, it seemed like they more so focused on hardware, and then we're like, yeah, they'll figure out the rest, you know, which is a bummer. Hey, Troy. The giveaway form is officially in chat, everybody. So if you want to sign up, we're going to give away a spool of Polymaker filament in about half an hour. If you have not, oh, we got 69 likes. Nice. Yeah. It's been a minute since I've checked how many likes we've had like on a stream, and it's been 69, but for a while there, it was like every stream. Okay, so our beds are at 45 Celsius, so we're getting there. We are getting there. I still need to PID tune them, but they're at least a lot less squirrely than the hot end. Oh, you can change your name back from the handle? Hey, Mad Dog. Since you can't see what's happening, bed 1 and bed 2 are at 45 Celsius, bed 3 is at 44, almost at 45, and then bed 4 will heat up. So we're like on the final cycle of heating up. I don't know what we're gonna do next week. I don't know if we're gonna play with this one last time. I wasn't gonna put panels on it because I wanted to cut out big panels, but part of me thinks I might panel it up just to keep dust and crap from settling all over it for the time being. I will have to, excuse me, I will have to pull the electronics like bay off of here so that way I can slide the panel in behind it. But I'm just thinking, since I have the acrylic, I probably should just install it, even if it's more of a placeholder until the future. Okay, first bed's at 50, second bed is about to hit 50. I'll chew on it and see what I want to do next week. The issue is, like, if we're streaming in the garage again, I guess I could probably move. It's difficult to stream anything else in here right now until I get another place for this big printer. And I need to build a cart for that, which I doubt I'll have done by next Wednesday. Many of us have tried and found our chosen name is mysteriously taken. I do wonder how long YouTube will keep it like this before reverting back again. I don't understand why they did that. I guess I could see for, like, if you were creating YouTube content and had a channel that they want you to have a handle for, I don't know, easier taggability or something like that. But outside of that, I don't understand it. Need to get this done before it's too cold to work in the garage. Yeah, I do have a electric heater. It's not great. It's it's more aesthetically pleasing than functional, which is not really. Oops. Yeah, I think it's okay. Which is not really what you want when it's something that's gonna keep you, keep you warm. But I did buy this a couple years back, and I didn't run it last year because it was tripping the circuit when I was trying to do anything else in here. But this guy, so what I'll probably end up doing is just, I don't know, mounting him maybe right there. And there's a dedicated, or not a dedicated, but there's one of the new 20 amp circuits right there. So that way it'll at least keep, the nice thing is, like, it's connected to an app. So I could just, before I'm streaming, kick it on for like an hour and at least warm this little area. It's not fantastic, but it does help at least a little bit. It also draws a hell of a lot of power. It says 1500 watts. So yeah, when I was trying to run this and then like power on a big printer, or trying to run this and then the vacuum specifically on the CNC, like the dust collection vacuum, it would just instantly pop the breaker. So it's either be cold and have dust collection, or be warm and have dust everywhere. Why are we not printing? Oh, we had to get to 55C. Okay, we're at temp though, so we should be moving. Scammers trying to pass off as legit accounts was one problem. Got it. Just use the Venture XL. I just might, man. Too bad it doesn't get, I wonder how hot it can get, but there we go. All right, so let's see what this does now. Okay. Plug entry level. How much power does the printer use when heating all the beds? I don't know. Someone posted what the beds were rated at. 1500 watts is tiny in the rest of the world. All I've got is here. Someone, I don't know how much the maximum is for each of these beds offhand right now. Someone in chat said it earlier, but it's a lot. You want a 20 amp circuit, and ideally a 20 amp dedicated circuit. We're stagger heating, which is going to help us, but it's a lot of power. Install a wood heater. I mean, I'm gonna get the mini split is my primary focus. So the mini split should do hot and cold, and I won't have to worry about anything. Okay, so we QGL'd. So now we're gonna do the nozzle touch off. Our nozzle offset was pretty far off though, which is interesting, because I thought that the whole point of doing a nozzle probe was to have like a true Z0 offset, but I wonder if it's because of how close my nozzle was previously that was sort of making the Cartographer trip out. Okay. Okay. doesn't, it looks like it's still gonna print in the wrong area based off where it's parked. Get some of those cold plates, then only print PLA, and you don't need to worry about bed temps. I would need, I would need a really big one of those cold plates, but that is a valid option. Let's see. What do we think? Do we think it's gonna print in the middle of the bed, or we think it's gonna print right where it's at? The fact that it parked where it's at concerns me as far as it printing in the right spot. At the very least, we won't have our bolts dragging on our printed part. Because I thought that was weird to me. Like, I could hear some dragging going on, and at first I thought it was the nozzle, like, dragging on the filament, but once I started looking at it from the other angle, I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's all right. Our probe is actually scraping on it. Maybe there's something in the code that avoids the junction of the 4 beds. You think maybe in the variable bed temp macro? I can look at the macro in a sec here. Once it gets going and we know that things are not going awful. So yeah, it's definitely printing in the wrong spot again. So far there's no filament coming out. Still no filament coming out. Okay, filament's coming out now. It had to go through the new nozzle. What are we doing? What are we doing? That's a lot of crashing. Oh, I don't have the rope. Okay, that was a fail. So what in the world happened? So us adding the... So the only thing we've changed was that we added the end stop stuff to the macro. So it tried going to what it thought was center, but it thinks that where it was at was like front left corner. Did you do a probe calibration? I did the calibration through Cartographer, like all the stuff that it said to do. So the only thing we changed on this was here. Position of end stop 600, that's correct. Position max 600, that is correct. So I don't know why. Let's look at that macro we're running. Well, only the beds with parts on them. Okay. Will heat only the beds with parts on them, unless no object is specified or chamber temp is requested. Change this to change the bed heating step amount, that's fine. Get all object points, object X min. Adaptive bed heat. Adaptive bed heat loop. Those had to be referenced in a different config file since if they were missed, it would have thrown an error. Do a manual home and see the coordinates it says in Clipper. Okay. That looks right. 300, 300, dead center. So if I do this, it should go. So 657, which is accurate. It is off the bed probably about 657. That seems correct. What do you mean, Bucket? Those had to be referenced in a different config file since if they were missed, it would have thrown an error. What had to be referenced in a different config file? The variable, the adaptive meshing, area bed, heater bed, heater bed, heater bed. That was, I added that initially. Let's get that out of here. Blobifier, crow's nest, debug, homing override. I don't think there's no issue with homing per se. Camp. Why do we have camp? We shouldn't need camp. Did you just add the end stop location to your stepper config file? Yeah, sorry. So I did add. These were not here. These did not exist. Position end stop and position max did not exist. Are you saying you think that they might exist somewhere else? So there is two-stepper. That is exactly what is happening. So there is a position. Okay, so they had stepper X and stepper Y in two different locations. Got it. So you're saying if these were not in there at all, it would have triggered an error. So they have it in two locations. So do we think this is the issue then? That it's because it's in two locations? So if that's the case, I think this seems probably fine. These guys seem fine. So I'd like to comment out this. So this whole section shouldn't exist. I don't understand why they would have split it like this. Unless it, wait, so was the step direction and enable pin in? How long until this gets a tube and a 1mm nozzle? Hey, Sweehum, we're not doing tube on this. We're doing a Rapido ultra high flow because they Fadis reached out and sent one over. This used in Clipper, a pain in the butt. If used, it used to error if it was set 2 times. Yeah, so I want to see if it has step direction enable. So step direction enable, rotation distance, and microsteps. Did that exist? Don't save. So it does not. Oh, why do they have it split like that? Homing direction positive, true. Homing retract distance. Yeah, so if they already have these here, I, at the very least, need to delete. Here, why don't we just do this? Let's get rid of save. Since they have this separate config file, let's just combine them. So position is the stuff that was existing already. Homing speed and homing retract distance. Okay. So this basically reverts us back to how we were then, which means that it is still going to be printing weirdly. It should be printing on the bed at the very least this time. But it is going to be printing, yeah, I can just copy all this and then overwrite what I added down here. And that should be good. Hey, GPs. Yes, it has printed, sort of. It is printed, sort of. We found out that my nozzle was way too close and the bolts from the sensor, the surface scanner, were dragging. But we fixed, I feel like, quite a few things at this point. I am curious about what macro we're calling in our start. Okay, so we're doing adaptive bed heat. That is the command we're running. Adaptive bed heat, which is specifically adaptive, this one. We'll only heat the beds with parts on them unless no object is specified or chamber temp is required. That doesn't seem to be happening. No object is specified. It is heating all of them. And we do have label objects enabled. And I assume we must have, if we go under here and we go under here, do we need, yeah, exclude object is right there. So I don't know what in the world is going on with the, yeah, let's just try to print. My theory is that based off of everything, and now that we've reverted, it's gonna print in the back right build area, and I don't know why. I am at this point unsure why that would be, but let's at least see if we can print now and have that work without it dragging and see how the Z offset looks. The Eddy coil paired with the EBB36 and Eddy NG works like a dream. That's awesome. What printer? Oops, that was, I meant to change the scene. What printer is it? Number of preset cast error. Oh, it's because it's already doing its thing. What printer was it that you installed that on? Or was it on the Tic Tac? No, it wasn't Tic Tac. You didn't do Tic Tac. You did Eddy NG though. With label objects and it's set to the center in slicer, it will think it needs all 4 beds hot. That's a valid point. Okay, let's try. Let's try favoring that other bed then. My concern is though, if it is slicing, if it is printing over here when I have it here, I don't want to go too far out of concerns that it's going to try doing something funky out there. So let's do like just a Voron cube, so it's a single object, and let's move it to like, what baby? You got an owie? What happened, baby? You got owie on your head? I'm sorry. Careful, don't hit your head on the wood. Watch out, there's cables here. Come here. Want to see this thing? Want to see the printer move for a minute? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's going to move. Okay, so that did work. That did work. It only heat bed 3. Although, I don't know if that is the correct bed. Oh, you found Landon. He said he got an owie. I don't know. Andrew, thank you so much, man, for the gift of memberships. Cheers.
I wonder what's for dinner.
Do you guys want to see the baby Lando? Our little chunker? It's not on that camera. There it is now. Yeah. You can press the button in a sec. There he is. He says, "Where's the milk at?" He's like looking right at the camera. Yeah. Yeah, 1 sec, baby. He says, "What's up, y'all?" He says, "Are we gonna print today or what?" He is right in front of it, yeah. It is moving, yeah. No, you can't move the printer. It's printing, buddy. Dude is like, "What are you doing to me?" Yeah, he's a cool little guy. He's our chunky monkey. He's moving closer so he can touch things, which isn't okay. He's a big boy. He's going careful, baby. Hey, when the printer's moving, you can't have your hands near it, okay? Okay? You gotta stay further away, because otherwise, if you get your fingers in there, it could pinch them and that'll hurt, you know? It'll get you owie. Yeah, it's moving up. You see it? All right.
I didn't hear him after I changed my diaper and right out here.
Yeah. So it did heat just bed 3. I just don't know if it's defined correctly. But if you look at this, since I moved the cube, like it's just bed 3 that's heated, which is awesome. So that was a good point. I had it centered and that's why it was heating all beds. So you definitely don't want that. It also looks like... I don't know, actually. What, baby? You can have the stool there, you just can't touch the printer. Because if you touch the printer, it could hurt you. Hey, Steve. Thanks, Mad Dog. It prints to the right and towards the back of the printer, so the printing is happening in that position. Perhaps something to look into. Yeah, like it's scanning in the... Wait, no, it's not even scanning in the right spot. It just scanned the center of the bed, which it should not have done. Yeah, that was my first fail, son. Yeah, it's a red piece. Yeah, so it just scanned the like dead center of the bed, which is not where it should be scanning at all. It should be back to the right. So I don't know what is going on with that. You should make the filament spool follow the tool head. That's a very long trip for the filament to go. Wait, you should make the filament spool follow the tool head. What do you mean follow the... I don't know what you mean. Make the filament spool follow the tool head. Oh, there's no music on. Yeah, those are Daddy's failed prints. Oh, let's not do that, kiddo. We gotta keep everything off here, okay? Okay, nothing on here. It's gonna be printing right now, okay? I recall someone saying without a lot of effort in the macros, it's just easier to scan the whole bed each time. That's weird though. That shouldn't be the case. Like variable meshing, I wonder, what is it, buddy? Don't put that in your mouth. Or you not eat? Nope, plastic is not something we eat. That's not funny. I wonder if because I updated the firmware, like we're on Clipper. Yeah, baby. It is a big piece. We're on Clipper 0.13. I wonder if I need to just get rid of camp. Because we don't need camp. Variable meshing should be in Clipper at this point. At that version. I don't remember. Jack, don't throw... I need that. Why did you throw that? Where is it? Go get it. You gotta go find it now. Daddy needs that, buddy. I wonder if if I were to get rid of camp and just use adaptive meshing like it's built in a Clipper, if that would work better. Yeah, it takes probably maybe 2 minutes on this bed to scan it. It's definitely not going at fast speeds. Yeah, you lost it, huh? So now Daddy has no bolt for his screen. I can't tell if this is printing in the correct place or if it's just printing in the exact same spot and ignoring everything. I have no idea. the Z offset is way off as well, which I don't know if that's something with Cartographer. I thought that when it did the nozzle probe, it was supposed to set like a true 0. So I need to figure that out as well. Yeah, it looks like the exact same spot. It's ignoring everything, and the Z offset is just way off. It is way too high. And I can adjust it on the fly, but I thought that the whole point of doing the nozzle probing was that you didn't have to do that, and it just auto set it. So I don't think it's gonna stick. I'll let it print for a minute or two here. Probe calibrate again. Yeah, baby. Yeah, silly gay. You mean probe calibrate through the Cartographer stuff? Yeah, I imagine that the Z offset value that it saved is probably in the footer of the config file. I just don't. Yeah, it's moving. It was way far off. I just have no idea whether it's repeatable or not at this point. I think that the first step is to figure out how to get meshing working correctly, because right now it's got a 0.8 millimeter deviation, right? And now it's like when it homes, it's hitting the wall there. So it doesn't know where it's at. Hey, what are you doing? You cannot go outside right now. Hey. You cannot go outside right now. So yeah, it doesn't know where it's at. Also, it's scanning in the wrong spot. And if it's scanning in the wrong spot, and this bed, you gotta be further back, and the bed has a 0.8 millimeter deviation, then the difference from there to there might be, maybe that's what's throwing it too. Hey, you can't be right here. You can go inside or you can sit right here, okay? Yeah, you can't, no. So you wanna go inside? Then you can sit right here. Those are your options. No, you can't. Daddy's standing right there. Daddy's standing right there. Yeah. So you can sit. If you want to be out here, you can sit here. You want to go inside? Those are your options. I'm letting you be out here, which is a big deal. But you gotta listen if you're gonna be out here, okay? Okay. Oh yeah. Hey LTX, it's going, man. We've had a lot of issues, but we've gotten a lot of it worked out. The main issues I'm running into right now is the Cartographer Z offset doesn't seem to be working correctly, which, yeah, it just basically, the touch value is way off from where it thinks it should be. And then when we're printing, there's something off with like the variable meshing stuff. It's basically scanning, I told you can't open the door. It's basically scanning the center, even though the part was over here. And then it's printing, it seems like always in the same spot, but it doesn't know where it's at. I'm convinced that, like, it thinks it's further over here, because when I pause it, it goes and crashes into that corner, which makes me think that it believes it's somewhere over here. So I wonder if there's something wrong. You can't be right here. Hey, this is it, last time. And if you move again, you gotta go inside, okay? You're okay, you don't have to say sorry, but you just need to sit here or go inside. Hey, you cannot be right there, son. Look at me. Hey, you can be right here if you want to hang out. That's fine, okay? But you can't be right here because Daddy's working right here. You understand? Okay. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want Daddy to trip on you, and I want you to touch the printer. Printing occurs where the map's touch mode as the offset took place, because for the map, it considers this to be the 0 reference point of the bed mesh. Change the Cartographer probe setting so it isn't offset anymore, and it'll work fine. Got it. So you think we can try it? So the main things. No. Last chance, one more time. I'm carrying you inside. All right, then be right there. Okay, so we'll change this back to 300 by 300. This is what the default value was. And then because we're doing that though, I think that we should probably...
You gonna go inside? Yeah?
You can go watch Flippy or Boopa. Okay, so because we did that, I think we should stop this, kill the print, do a firmware restart, and then we'll redo the probe calibration. Okay, 2 more minutes on the giveaway, then we'll do the giveaway drawing, and then we'll fire up one more print and see how that goes. You what? You're working on your house? Is that so? Okay. Alright, so let's... I don't think I need to redo the scan because that seemed like it worked fine. But it's the offset that I think needs to be redone, so... What? Daddy's right here. You want this? Yeah, you can have that, of course. You're welcome, baby. Alright, we'll try one last thing here. So, Cartographer, touch, calibrate, and see how it does. The reason why we did it away from the center of the bed is because having 4 beds meet up there means it's a weird spot for the shape of the bed. But we'll see if it works. Nozzle looks clean. Whew. Well, your stool's right behind me. Oh, that's dirty now. It's got to get washed, buddy. Okay. Don't put this back in your mouth. It's got to go in the sink, okay? It's dirty. The garage is dirty. Okay? Yeah, we'll try it. It seemed like it wasn't an issue based off the docs to change the location of the value. Hey, you cannot put it in your mouth. It's got to get washed. No, you cannot clean it by rubbing it on your hand. It needs to get washed with soap and water in the sink, okay? You have to give it to mommy to clean it. Or put it on the sink, and I can clean it later. Okay, so that worked. This time at 575, so a pretty similar threshold. Save config. Alright, I'm gonna get this fired up, and then we will go... Hey, Shadow Queen! It makes sense why you changed the location, but then nothing else in the code would account for the shift. At least worth trying. Yeah, your point is valid. it at least makes sense. So let's go ahead and... No, we don't want to center this still. We actually do want it still offset, because ideally we're not heating up all the beds. Okay, 1 more minute on the giveaway link, and then I will unpin it. I would be very happy if it scanned and tapped and did all the things in the right place. I feel like we're chasing ghosts in the system right now. So let's see what's happening. Okay, so yeah, it's just heating the single bed. Thanks, Down Under. Yeah, gremlins. Okay, I'm gonna remove the giveaway link, and then if anyone's actively filling it out, you got another 60 seconds or so. All right, bed heating complete, so it should be starting to do... It should be starting to do a quad gantry level soon. I'm curious to see whether the scanning scans in the right spot. Because it should not be perfectly centered. It should be offset to the right a little bit. Hey, Keith. We're making progress. I feel this has definitely been the more challenging build in a long, long time. Unless I'm blocking out some other semi-traumatic build. But yeah, we're making progress. I think that the hardware stuff is basically working now, and it's just to figure out to figure out all this stuff with the firmware. And then tune it, of course. We'll need to do like flow testing, max flow testing. Probably need to verify that the rotation distance is correct. It is a big build. It is by far the biggest, by a long shot, printer I've ever messed around with. And there's a reason I haven't messed around with big printers prior, because I know that they can be a lot. If we get this done soon, maybe I can print out some Christmas deer for the front lawn. All right, so where is it gonna scan? So it's homing in the center, that's fine. That's what it's always done. Okay, so now it should go back down right in the same spot. Okay, it is. So the extruder is not at temp here, which feels wrong to me. Also, because it's homing here now in a section where it's not really heated, that might be having a factor on it. But I think that the nozzle should be at temp. So that is probably something that I need to address. I could print a doghouse, you're not wrong. I'm gonna print furniture, that's still not sure what I would use a big printer for. That might have been right. That might have been correct. Did you see where it scanned? That seemed right. If it taps the nozzle, it should be at least 130 to 150. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'll need to change the starting macro. It seemed like it scanned. It seemed like it scanned in a better spot though. Tuxedo, do we agree with that? I tap at 130, used to use 150. Yeah, I need to change that in the starting macro right away. Jack is not listening. Okay, so we want... So I just basically need to add a command then, because right now it's got an M109 to set extruder temp. So we need another command in front of the touch probe home. That is to set it to... So we'll probably do, I would think it's another M109 command. So M109 paste, and we'll just change it to S. I'm gonna start with 150 because that's what I think what tap uses, and I'm pretty sure that's what I usually use. We'll leave it like that and see. Okay, so it does look like it's definitely, it's doing the prime line in a very different spot. Tap before heat will need lively adjuster. Yeah, I agree with that. I know it won't be correct. I think what I'll do is as soon as I see it go right now. Okay, that seems more in line with what I'm expecting. Our nozzle is definitely too close on this one, which I think I'm okay with because it will stick. It doesn't look like it's close enough where it's going to damage anything. So I'm going to let this ride. I do want to see though, if I pause it, if it freaks out and crashes. Let's actually check that. Let's see if pause is working now. It totally skipped one step. It skipped one step. Okay, I'm gonna Peel this off. Hit stop. Do a firmware restart. Hit print, and then we're gonna do the drawing. We'll do the drawing right now. Check the pause macro. I will. I guess I can do that right now. Let's see. Print start, print end, cancel print, load filament, unload filament. Is there no pause macro here? Maybe it's in a different spot? This is the new Cartographer software. I tried the older one, it didn't work, but I think that probably wasn't the Cartographer software. For the touch, it was failing. I have a feeling it was due to my location, due to the location of the height of my mounting point. Homing default, homing config, homing override, homing override, homing override. I don't see a pause. Homing default, homing off. I don't know. I might have to look at this later. Yeah, I don't know where the pause command lives right now. Okay, that's fine. We'll hit print and let's do the giveaway. All right, I'm gonna change the camera so I can grab everyone's info. It may be park location. Yeah, I'll look into it a little bit more. Nice, 91 entries. Oh, it looks like they updated the UI for this. Am I tripping? It looks a little bit different to me. Like, at least the background, I don't remember there being this sort of gradient of colors. I'll need to look back on a previous video, but it does look like they... No, I'm convinced they slightly tweaked the UI on this. Nice. Yeah, I'll look, I'll find it, Mad Dog, because I definitely... If I skip a step every time I pause, well, then the pause command will do me no good. And on a printer this big, I absolutely want pause to work correctly, because there's going to be times where I'll need to swap out filament or something like that, and I will be very sad if my reindeer on day 3 runs out of filament, and when I pause it, I lose, you know, skip it. Yeah, the wheel looks different too. They must have done a UI refresh. It looks a little bit like crisper, the resolution. I can see the names a little bit easier. Yeah, I think they changed some stuff. Okay, how many times do we want to shuffle today? Let's see, we're 2 days away from Halloween. What are some other things that some other numbers? All right, Maurice's 7. I got 7, 8s, and 9s. No, we're not doing that one, Jeff. It is spooky week, but we'll do 7. I feel like yeah, we'll do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, everybody. Good luck to you all. Really quickly, also just want to say thank you to Polymaker for letting us do these giveaways. If you are new to the stream, new to the channel, the way it works is if you're in the United States or Canada and you win, you get a $35 gift card. Anywhere else in the world, you get to you get to pick a spool. I combine spool and pick. You get to pick a spool of filament up to $35 off of Polymaker's website. And the winner will get an email from me probably this evening, but for sure within the next 24 hours. So thank you to Polymaker for letting us do these giveaways. And if you do want to support the channel and pick up some awesome filament, there is a link in the description to where you can do so. Yeah, that's all we got. Here we go in 3. Did I already shuffle it? I shuffled it 9 times, right? Or 7 times?
Kickapoo.
I'm pretty sure I already shuffled it. We're gonna go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm almost positive I shuffled it before I got distracted. But what is it? Ballant? Ballant V! You are today's winner. I think you're a first-time winner. Pizza time. Congratulations to you for winning. I will send you an email this evening, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, congratulations. Thank you to everyone for entering and for Polymaker for letting us do these giveaways. And we'll do the same thing. We'll do the same thing next week at the same time in the same place. My brain is racked a little bit. I think I've been staring. I've stared at this printer a lot in the last 48 hours. So I don't know if you're still in chat, but balance, maybe. So let's see what happens with this. We are, I don't know if, what is it doing right now? It feels like hot end's heating up. Yeah, so hot end is at 150 Celsius, and now we're tapping. So that is good. Same bat place, same bat channel. Yep. Okay, so we're tapping hot. See if it works. And it failed. It failed. Okay, let's try one more thing here. Let's have the bed at 55C. Let's have the hot end at 150. Let's run the calibration again with everything at temp and see if that affects it. So this is gonna be my last attempt for today, okay? I am going to one more time run through this calibration if I can find it. Cartographer, touch calibrate, copy. And if this works, then we will get the print started, say yippee. And if it doesn't work, we will go back to the drawing board and I will figure it out. Yeah, this was deviation. Unable to find 5 samples within tolerances after 10 touches. But it sets a range initially, and I don't know what the range. I think the range has to do with a value that the cartographer is looking for. And so once you find the range, then I think within that range there's a tolerance that it basically wants to be within. I don't know what the default is. Okay, so it is definitely going to a different threshold now than it did before when it was cold. So we'll see what it comes up with. The drawing board would be beacon instead. If I have a beacon, but I wish that beacon had CAN for the sake of wiring on this thing. It's a really long distance. I need to run that USB cable. I'm sure I can adjust it, GPs. I'm sure I can. Yeah, I've ran the scan quite a bit, Bombersky. The thing is, today we went with a different nozzle because the one I was using before made the probe too close to the nozzle, and so it's the threshold that it's found has been like 575, but now it's not. Now it's like we're at 952. So I don't know. Like starting it later on in the range wouldn't have done me any good because it's been finding it right away. But temperature seems to be having a pretty big impact on it because now we're at 1052. Okay, that was not good. That is not working at all. It just basically bent the. Oh, well, that wasn't good. I have a feeling it probably made a mark because it did not. Yeah, no, I saw that. That was not good. I'm curious to see what my bed looks like now. I might go back to version 5 because they told me 5 was, like, I was told that 5 was probably the good version to be on. I went to 5.1 because surprisingly the bed looks fine. Use 8-core chain flex 822 to run both CAN and ESP. It's been fine for years. Highly recommend it at $330 a foot. 8-core chain flex. That's pretty freaking cool. Maybe. I mean, if you want to send me the link on Discord, that's fine. I don't know that I'm going to go that route. But I will absolutely. My interest is piqued. I will keep that in my bag of tricks. You can try a zero reference position of 290 by 290 to avoid being above the corners, but still have a 10 by 10 positional offset. I had problems with 5.1. Okay, well, let's try going back. This will be the last thing I try. Okay, this will be the real last thing I try. So let's try this one more time. So SSH FYSETC at 192.168.105.138. Yeah, FYSETC. Yep, there we go. So the command I need, I wrote this down. 5.0.0. Cool. I think I've already got my UUID. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right, so we're officially back on 5.0. Okay, firmware restart. Cool. I might, whoever said that, Chaz? I might. All right, so let's do, so now we're on 5.0. Let's have the nozzle hot. Okay. So nozzles, I'm gonna heat the nozzle up to 150. I'm not too worried about the bed. Yeah, we'll leave the bed cold for this. It's gonna set, the bed temperature is gonna be different every time. So let's just see what happens when we go touch calibrate. I will be much more vigilant on making sure that I hit the e-stop button on this though. Where were we here? Yeah. Hey Bearded, I really like your desk organizer model that you posted recently, man. I thought it was really cool. Both the overall design of it, but like the functionality too. It just looked really nice. You've made some cool stuff lately. I definitely feel like I haven't told you. I usually like them, but I don't think I've said to you directly. But yeah, a big fan. Like you've been making some really cool stuff. But the desk organizer. Why can't I talk? The desk organizer specifically that you posted, I think yesterday I saw it, was like, that's freaking sweet. So. All right, so we're doing this now. I'm gonna be a lot more paranoid. Thanks for the review on the 85X. It really helped me pull the trigger on one. Oh, that's awesome, Andrew. How are you liking it so far? I think it's, I mean, it's like bare bones from a Core XY standpoint, but for someone that just wants multicolor printing, like it's worked really, really well for me. Bearded, oh, thanks, yeah. Thank you for the gift of membership. I wasn't fishing for memberships. I just wanted to, you know, tell you because you were here and I was like, oh, it was still on my mind. But thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Monolith conversion. I am concerned as we climb higher and higher up on this thing. I also just I'm curious as to what threshold it's trying to find. At 575, the threshold was 0.009. Now we're at 0.009 again. What is the default threshold? It feels really, really narrow. Hey, Precursor. It's getting close to the range where I'm getting scared. What value do you want? You couldn't get tap working? It says it worked now. Okay, successful calibration with default of 800. Let's try it. Well, I haven't had any real concerns with this thing other than a moment ago where it was doing the tap calibration and just didn't detect that it had tap and basically like bent things. Like, I mean, I don't know that it did, but it certainly flexed the tool head. It was not good. Also, I have a question for you since you're here. I just got in a Rapido Ultra High Flow, and I know you switched over to Tube, but I know that you were also running one at one point. When you have a chance, can you just shoot me a link to whatever files you printed out to get that working? Because I want to upgrade. The issue we found out today was that the Dragon I swapped in here, the nozzle, like it's too short, and the bolts of the surface scanner were actually scraping on the printed part. And so right now I'm running like a slightly longer nozzle that's sticking out, but I'm gonna swap it out. Fade sent over a Rapido. So if you have the, like, whatever files you printed to get the Rapido Ultra High Flow variant working, if you could Discord link me them at some point, that would be awesome. No huge rush, but that would be appreciated. Okay, so let's try this now. I think everything should be good. I will, for the sake of your print reliability, you should stick to proximity. I had a couple of people, the reason why we were going with touch actually was last week's stream. There was a couple people that I think have this printer that are running touch and were a big fan of it. That's what like got me kind of jazzed about using it. So if it ends up being the case, like if after today, or maybe after not today, but like after the next couple of prints, I just see like, hey, it doesn't seem to be consistent, then I will probably just go with that. I think that touch is more valuable on printers where you're printing with a wide range of materials because your Z offset is going to be changing as the bed's expanding and contracting. Expanding, contract. Yeah. And on this, like, I'm primarily going to be printing with PLA. So I do think that like finding the proximity offset is going to be fairly reliable versus another machine where, you know, you're throwing a bunch of different materials at it. I'd have to look. It's a stock stealth burner, so whatever the files are for that, you'll need a longer front face though. It's a stock stealth burner. Got it. Okay. If I can find them in the repo then. I just wasn't sure if... So yeah, you shouldn't... So you only have to reprint basically the segment that holds the hot end and then the... Like that has the shroud and the hot end and then the front faceplate. I wasn't sure if something else had to be printed or something else had to be done differently for the mounting points on the CNC carriage. I wasn't positive whether they kept the same like screw positions as the printed stealth burner. I'm sorry, as the printed X carriage on the CNC one. With the tolerance of your bed, it won't make a difference. Mount points don't change. Nice. Okay. That makes it easier. That was my concern, really, was I didn't know that. Also, you didn't by chance flash a different version of Clipper on your controller, did you? Because like I was trying to, at one point, I'm not anymore, I'm back at just regular Clipper, but I was trying to install, why can't I think of what it's called? Oh man, Danger Clipper's new name is called what? It starts with a K. It's not Catapult, that's the bootloader flashing utility. It starts with a K. It's Calico. Thank you. So I was trying to flash Calico to the controller on here, but I couldn't find any information about how to do it. Like, it seems like this thing is a custom Spider Pro, but even if I was using a regular Spider Pro as my baseline, I couldn't find any documentation or anything in a wiki that said what values to set under the make menu config to generate the file needed to flash this thing. That's half the reason I'm going back to stock. Yeah. I might do the same. As far as you mounting the Kraken in here, or are you mounting the Kraken in the stock electronics box, or are you doing something different? Because I would think that you probably could use the same mounting holes if you just print out some brackets that, you know, like shift its location a little bit. Is the config referenced? Oh, you got, nice. Nice, nice. Thanks, man. We're gonna call it soon here. This is like the last go today to see if it works successfully, but I appreciate it, man. Enjoy your dinner. Is the config referenced? What do you mean nice? In the config it has a segment for the board. But there's nothing in here. It's all like, I've looked at all of these and they're, you know, schematics, 3D model of the board, CAD file, pinout. There's no like information about this thing, really. Thanks, Chaz. Have a good night, man. What printer? What printer, Beads? Is it this printer that you're having the E0011 error? Oh no, you guys are talking about the 85X. Got it, got it. Yeah, I realized that once I saw Andrew responding. I don't think I ever got that error. I did have filament like break off in the toolhead once that was kind of annoying, but that was really it. Okay, all right, let's see if this works. Oh, all right. Come on, baby. It failed again. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so I think a big part of why it's failing is we're back in the center, which is where it's got that peak. So I have two options at this point. The options are, number one, try to figure out how I can change the value from center to offset like I had originally without affecting all the other values, which I don't even know if that's possible. When I looked at the documentation for this last night, I'm pretty sure Ensure that your zero reference position is set to a sensible value, usually the middle of the bed. So I thought, because I read this, like, usually the middle of the bed, I thought that, like, okay, yeah, that's usually where people have it, but it wouldn't, I didn't think it would really affect anything by changing it. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So I'll have to look to see, can I change that without it impacting, like, the logic of everything? Because, like, can I isolate it to just, you know, just the probe, which might not be the case. If I cannot do that, then the other option is I just don't do touch, and I just do the scanner, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing at this point, because we feel like we've tried a lot of things. I've tried different firmware versions. I've tried temp, no temp, locations. Like, I'm not sure at this point. Is there filament on the nozzle? No, I mean, it's at 150, like it's at 150 Celsius, so that shouldn't be the issue, but there's not really, no. Like, no gloop, nothing like that. If you change just that, it should only affect the referee point. Yeah, it's bizarre to me. It's really odd to me that so I had changed it from 300 by 300 to 400 by 400. So it was probing here and it was working. But it was scanning over here. And it's weird to me that when I shifted it back to here, the scanning then worked over here. Like, I would think that if the scanning was offset, or maybe the scan, I don't know. Let's check one last thing here. I've got to call it in a moment. Yeah, I've got to call it in a moment, but let's just do one last little look here. All right. Many probes are susceptible to drift. Inaccuracies in probing introduced by heat or interference. This can make calculating the probe Z offset challenging, particularly at different bed temperatures. As such, some printers use an end-stop harmony Z and a probe for calibrating the mesh. In this configuration, it is possible to offset the mesh so that XY reference point applies zero adjustment. The reference position should be the location on the bed where the Z end-stop calibrate paper test is performed, which wouldn't really apply to us. The zero reference position expects an XY coordinate matching that of your reference position described above. If the coordinate lies within the mesh, if the coordinate lies within the mesh, then the mesh will be offset. The reference point applies zero adjustment. If the coordinate lies outside of the mesh, then the coordinates will be probed after calibration, with the resulting Z value used as a Z offset. I don't fully understand. I mean, a 290 by 290 would still shift this off by 10 millimeters. It would be a lot closer than my value, which was 400 by 400. So we can attempt that. All right, this is for real. This is for real for the last time. If I see it start printing, I'm gonna say yay and end it. If I see it not start printing, I'm gonna say boo and end it. This is it. I'm letting it heat really quick to 150. I just want to make sure that I don't see how it would matter for this test. Filament versus not filament, but I'm gonna heat it up to 150 because that's what we're using when we're actually printing, and I want things to be as close to the environment it's printing in, so that way there's hopefully no issues. Zero reference position change seemed to shift the whole printing plane compared to the actual bed. I agree. So shifted by 10 millimeters and 10 millimeter X and Y will be off the bed. I also agree with that statement. Yeah. This seems to shift everything. Like, if the bed is here, and now I've gone 10 millimeters left and down, like it's literally moving everything. So that 10 millimeters on this side and 10 millimeters down here would no longer be on the build plate. I do agree with that. Which is not ideal. And I find it odd that that seems to be the only way. I don't understand why there's not just a command. And I don't think that's anything with Cartographer per se, but more of a Clipper thing. I don't understand why there's not a command where I can't just tell it like, hey, you're gonna probe over here. Don't worry about why, but like that's the value you're gonna be using for your Z offset. In reality, I would think that a variable, because our bed especially is not flat, I would think like a variable touch would be more accurate. Like in the center, like if it shifted, basically always go in the center of the model or something like that. Hey, Los. I'm new to Clipper, though it seems like all the changes that you have gone through might warrant resetting things while applying the corrections that you have figured out that work. Start over. Resetting things to what? It's sort of printed. It's sort of printed. You mean resetting the config? I'm not sure. Like reset what? I feel like at this point we've only changed things that have worked. The only variable is this one that we just changed, but I mean, everything else seems to be working at this point. It's just the touch. Like it's just this. It's like the bed meshing / offset thing. Well, it's running. This is running different thresholds. That's why it's like you can see here. It's gonna tap a lot of times because it's basically going through this. So it starts at 500 maybe. Yeah, 500 at 3000. Trying to find a threshold that works. I don't know exactly how it determines it, but I assume it's maybe it's 2 or 3 taps per spot to see how close the score is of each tap to the previous one. I mean, it sort of looks like we're getting better values. I mean, we started at 0.1, then went to 0.09, so that was better. That was similar, that was similar, that one's definitely less. So I'm curious to see what 950 gives us. Yeah, it's doing a lot more than 3 probes per value. Maybe it's doing 10 probes per, like, I don't know. So many probes. Okay, so that was a little bit worse. It does not fit through doorways. So if I were to take off the frame, the maximum I could get in this door is, it looks like, let's call it 31 inches. Let's just call it 31 inches. And the frame is, so it looks like 1025 is what it went with. 36 inches. Yeah, 36 inches. So it's not going through a door. That's why we're in the garage. Oh, and the weight, man. Carrying this thing up and down some stairs would be pretty freaking risky. All right, y'all. This is it. I promise this is it. Whether it works, whether it doesn't work, I'm out after this. Oh, does it have strain? Does it have strain? What do you mean? Yeah, you either have a garage, exactly, or some French doors for your kitchen that you can squeeze it into. It's yeah, I've been in pretty good. I think I've been in pretty good spirits, all things considered. I would like to move on and just actually use the printer now. That's for sure, but you know. I'm sure a 2.4350 would fit inside. Yeah, inside this, I'm sure it would. Okay, our bed has officially heated up. So we should be doing a quad gantry level in a second here. Yay. Any thoughts on stock drag chains versus moving umbilical and systems like this? So I have mixed feelings. I remember when I first discovered drag chains on 3D printers, which was, I think, my first V0 build. I was in love with them. I thought, man, these look so clean. They're kind of cool just to watch them move back and forth. And as time has gone on, I don't know. Like, on systems where you don't have, just like in this, there's just literally one CAN bus cable. So you wouldn't really be swapping out, like on systems where there was a bunch of cables running through, I liked them because it was way easier to swap out a part by just undoing all the clips versus having to undo like a sleeving to swap out a cable in there. But now that we've gone down to just, and a lot of times, you know, one USB cable or one CAN cable, it kind of loses that practicality. And yeah, I don't know. I don't feel strongly one way or another. I think it's kind of a personal preference thing. I don't hate them. I don't love them. I used to like them a lot more. Should build them shorter, then go out the door with it on its side. Yeah, I mean this, I know they wanted to go just really big, but man, if this thing was like 50% shorter, it would still do like most everything I would want, which is smaller parts but bigger batches, and then like flat things. Like I want to do hue forges on this. I really want to do some hue forges, like big hue forges. All right, everyone, this is it. This is the moment of truth. It is going to tap, and it is going to either tell me yay, or it's gonna error out and say, ah, please work. It should move 10 millimeters to the left and forward. Okay. I don't know if 10 millimeters really is enough to make that big of a difference off that hump because it's still towards that direction, but yeah, I want some big hue forges. I really want to make some stuff for Jackson's room. I made him a like Super Mario hue forge and freaking loves it. He can't really see it with the way his shelves are, but he can see when he's on his changing table, and every time he's up there, he always goes like, Mamma mia. It worked. It worked. I'm not convinced that camp scanned in the right place, but it might have. It sure might have. But it didn't error out. It did not error out. I'm curious to see now though what our Z offset looks like. This thing is really heavy, man. Even if it was foldable, it'd be brutal. I've had to flip it a few times and like move it around, which I've been able to do, you know, sort of by leaning it towards one side on the table. But if this thing, I couldn't imagine trying to deadlift this. With my back, I would die. It'd be really bad. Okay, so now we're just hot ends climbing up in temp. Wait, what are we climbing up? Yeah, 220. Yep. Come on, baby. Yeah, it's a thick line. It's definitely still too close. I wonder, I would imagine if I set a Z offset, like if I bump it, it probably will disregard it after each print, right? If it's grabbing a Z offset each time, but I wonder if it would ignore it, or if I add a Z offset, if it would basically like stack that value onto whatever it grabs. But yeah, this is definitely too close. I'm gonna let it print just because, well, it's exciting to see it. It's exciting to see it actually printing. But I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna remove the oops, sorry. I'm gonna remove the offset, 10 millimeter offset, and probably just not do touch. We're just gonna use the proximity on it. I think that's my, yeah, after tap the offset will be 0. Yep. You can add an offset to the start G code. Well, if that's the case, then I can try that. I'm not against trying that. But yeah, that first layer was for sure too close. It is really nice to see it printing. Oh, okay, I got it. So you're saying once it taps, it's going to zero it out at that location, but I can add a Z offset beyond that. But if I add a Z offset beyond that, like after it does tap, is there a point in tap? Like, is it just going to add, is it going to, it would, huh? Because it would basically add the Z offset from the 0 that it's determined as the 0. So it would make a difference versus doing proximity. How did you get the line purge to work? There's a macro for it. I think it's camp. It's using a variable purge. So Clipper has adaptive meshing built into it now, so you don't really need camp for that. Like camp used to be the plugin or add-on that you needed for variable meshing. But the one thing that camp has that, as far as I'm aware, vanilla mainline Clipper doesn't have is the variable purge line. So yeah, it's a purge line. It adds the Z offset to the tap offset. Okay, sick. I'll do that then. I mean, it was definitely too close. I couldn't tell you how close, too close. Not close enough where I was concerned about it, you know, the nozzle scraping the PEI, but too close in the sense that like filament was being shoved into the PEI more than it needed to be. I don't remember having to add an offset to EDNG, but maybe I'm just forgetting. The cube's looking pretty good though. But I basically am losing 10 millimeters of build volume by having that value change. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop into the Cartographer Discord and just post a message and see, like, basically saying, hey, I adjusted the value of the ref point and it basically shifted my whole printer's like build area / logic by that amount, not just the area it probes. So right now I'm just doing negative 10 from the center point, and that's still the case. Is there any way you guys are aware of to counter that, or is that just the way it is? And so I don't think I'm going to care too much about 10 mil by 10 mil on this massive printer. Like, I think I can live with that, really. But if there is a way to not lose build volume and shift things, you know, outside of it just shifting where it does the touch off, then I'd certainly prefer that. Mine is set as G-code offset. Set G-code offset. Awesome. I'm gonna copy that just so that I can at least remember the command. Mine might need a little more offset than yours, but probably not by much. All right, let me move this over here. Hit paste. Cool, I got it. All right, y'all, I'm gonna call it. We hit the 3.5 hour mark and I am hungry, and I think I think we got some errands to run. I had a list of things I was gonna do today, but I don't think I'm going to. I suspect there is some mesh being done in camp that conflicts with the math done in Cartographer. Mine is for the Goliath, which is a long heater. Gotcha. It is a really long heater. It's possible. I mean, I could always disable camp and just use Clipper's built-in meshing. I just don't think that I'd be able to do a purge line then. Wait. Yeah, I'd be able to purge line, but the purge line would be outside of it, and it would also probably... Maybe it wouldn't do weird things with the heating logic. If I have the purge line after, it would still probably be able to do a purge line. It would just do a purge line off on the front where it's cold. So maybe I'll do that. I'll first I'll probably first just post something in the Cartographer Discord and see what they say. I use camp just for purge. I'm off to bed. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. We made progress. We were printing. Like, I mean, that deserves at least one more air horn. We are printing. So now it's just like figuring out how repeatable is this? Like, yes, it worked to do the touch off this time, but if I run it 10 more times, will I get no errors when I'm trying to do the touch at the beginning? And then it's calibration stuff, but it's alive. It's printing. We've got a cube on it, so there's that. I am going to be swapping out the hot end probably soonish as well, but I might get the other stuff dialed in first and then swap the hot end, so I know, like, cool, everything works now. It's just a new hot end. And the only thing I need to change on the hot end is offsets, and then we should be good. So when are you going to get a bid printer? Oh, man. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out and for giving me ideas and keeping me company and laughing at stuff. Congratulations again to our winner. And then, as always, thank you to the donations we had, the gifted memberships, the new members, existing members, and just all of y'all for being awesome. I don't know what we're going to do next week. We might play around with this one last time. I feel like I'm getting to the point squirrely where I'm like, I'm ready to move on to something different, but I would like to, I mentioned earlier, like, I think I'd like to throw panels on it so that way, even if they're not the best panels, it keeps some dust out of the system and helps once it gets cooler in here in the next couple of weeks. And then, yeah, we'll see if I have any updates for you guys next week, but we are starting the Micron Plus soon. I just have a feeling it'll probably be more like 2 weeks from today. I don't think we'll start it next week. So thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. Yeah, have a great rest of your night, everybody, and I will catch you guys next time. There should be a video out on Saturday. I am wrapping up one right now, so you guys will probably get a Saturday dose of me this week. But all right, everyone, have a great night, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.